Today's episode is presented by Vampires of the Velvet Lounge in select theaters March 20th from Strand Releasing. Deep in the American South, a back-alley absinthe bar harbors a deadly secret. Countess Elizabeth Bathory and her glamorous coven of vampires keep their killer instincts sharp by preying on lonely singles through dating apps, seducing and slaughtering to preserve their youth. But when Elizabeth swipes right on the wrong profiles, a cunning undercover vampire hunter and a band of emotionally stunted bros, the hunt spirals into hilariously horrifying chaos. Wrist Cutters, a love story producer Adam Sherman writes and directs this hilarious horror comedy that stars Mina Suvari, Stephen Dorff, Tom Berenger, Rosa Salazar, Tyrese Gibson, Lockman Monroe, and more. Don't miss Vampires of the Velvet Lounge in select theaters March 20th. Tickets on sale now. From the executive producers of Stranger Things comes a series that asks the question, are you sure he's the one? Something Very Bad Is Going to Happen is an atmospheric psychological horror set in the 5 days leading up to an intimate wedding. Starring Camilla Morrone and Adam DeMarco. This isn't just a story about cold feet. It's about the visceral anxiety and mounting terror of realizing you might be marrying the wrong person. As Rachel questions whether Nikki is truly the one, her doubts spiral into something darker, and the show explores the ultimate horror. How can you ever be certain you've made the right choice? It's edgy, and it's not a spoiler if it's in the title. Something very bad is going to happen. The only question is, what is it? Watch Something Very Bad Is Going to Happen on March 26th, only on Netflix.
Warning, the following film is so intense, we are only allowed to advertise it for 15 seconds.
Excuse me?
Zazie Bates, They Will Kill You. Only in theaters March 27th. Rated R.
I hate to say it, but his parents have been feeling unwell as of late, and I'm staying with them to help take care of Alex.
Oh, sounds serious.
Oh, no, it's not serious. Nothing terminal. It's just a touch of consumption.
And welcome back to Horror Queers. We're talking Don't Take It Personally. They're just trying to figure out if you're a gold-digging whore. We're talking, cock, I forgot my gun. Daddy, I suck. And we're talking, what the fuck is wrong with you? You fucking animal. You piece of shit, little tiny dick licker fucking asshole fucking like, fucking rich people. And I'm Joe.
And I'm Trace, and we're talking, you're a winner.
Oh my god, the Coke.
The Coke. Everyone, we are discussing Radio Silence's Ready or Not in anticipation of the sequel, Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, coming out this week.
Yeah. So, folks, this is a Redux episode because, of course, we already have a Patreon episode on this, but we didn't really give it, well, I'm going to take credit for this. Sure. I did not give it a fair shot the first time around. I liked it. I didn't love it. We had just seen the movie. We recorded instantly. It's very early days of the Patreon. So when the opportunity presents itself, I thought, okay, well, why don't we do another kick at the can, but like actually go through it in our, better, more improved format.
Yeah, I'll let you off the hook a little bit because, as you said, this isn't early days of the podcast. I mean, I don't know how long that episode was, but I would wager it's around the hour mark.
Yeah,
I do remember you being more mid on it than I was, which was feeding into my why isn't Joe any fun mindset.
Yes, that was back when I didn't agree with you and you were like, why do you hate everything?
I think you've come around. I think over the 6 or 7 years we've been doing this, we've kind of we've been meeting more in the middle. Like we've each been coming closer to each other's points of view, and so we found this balance. But it's also a thing where yes, everyone, like you've noticed, we've dropped Patreon episodes, opening our Patreon vault on the main feed, but because of those first year episodes, I mean, I'm not going to say they were bad, but I'm just going to say that they don't really reflect the modern structure of the show.
Right.
That's what I like about these Redux episodes. We did it with The Perfection last year or 2 years ago, I believe.
Jennifer's Body,
yes. And so, yeah, these Reduxes are just full-on re-recordings, and we can really come back in and recheck our opinions from a couple years ago.
Yeah, and if you're a patron, you could be listening to this ad-free right now,
yes.
But you can also go back and listen to our original thoughts and then compare and contrast. Are we going to make the same jokes, or are we going to make brand new ones?
Honestly, in the old days, I mean, like year 3 or 4, like I would have gone back to listen to the episode to make sure I didn't like repeat myself, but
right.
I didn't want to do that.
Who's got the time?
Yeah, who has that? Well, apparently our listeners.
I mean, good for them. For us, no, we got other things we got to do.
Well, I think it's a thing too where like I don't mind listening to my own voice. I never really have, but now like it's more so I don't like listening to my thoughts from 6 or 7 years ago.
My unformed childlike baby thoughts. Yes.
A little bit, yeah. Like, I mean, look, again, I'm not going to say it was bad. I just think it was more rough around the edges and we have a more polished feel nowadays.
Sure. Now we're pros. Oh my God, we've been in this so long. We're coming up closer to a decade than 5 years.
I remember too, when we started this podcast, I think our goal was like, if we can make it to 5 years, that would be awesome. And here we are on our way to 10.
Yeah, gray hairs and all, everything.
But Joe, okay, so overall thoughts, did this improve for you all these years later?
So it did, yeah. One of the issues I remember having was something to do with the marketing, feeling like it was fun but slight, but also that maybe the marketing spoiled, which seems to be a pervasive issue I tend to have with radio silence titles, to the point that I'm not even watching the trailers for the sequel because I don't want to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this definitely rose a half star for me. Not just because I knew what to expect, but I think because I was able to appreciate how carefully calibrated this is. Like, I love these two because they are great at directing action and they have this wild ability to cast their movies perfectly. And I think that this is the first film that really... it cements them to me, where I watch the film and I go, oh, these motherfuckers know how to make an entertaining film.
Yeah, I think there's a remarkable confidence on display from the directing in this. Yeah. Actually, really, just all technical aspects of this movie are very confident. And I feel about the same as I did all those years ago, but I will say, I mean, this movie's a flat 90 minutes. Like, the credits roll at the 91-minute mark, I think. And I remember... I think my biggest gripe, and I still kind of share it today, is that I do want more of some of these characters. Like, we have a very large ensemble here, and I think the one I was wanting the most more from was Andie MacDowell, because this is such an against type role and film for her, because I mean she's really known for romantic comedies and dramas. And and while I'm still very satisfied with what we get from her in the final cut of this film, I'm still kind of like,
missed opportunity. There could have been so much more.
Well, but then I'm trying to figure out, is it missed opportunity, or is it I'm liking so much of what I'm seeing that I want more. So it's one of those cases where it's like, oh, is it better to be left wanting because it's so good, or is it a missed opportunity? And maybe we'll discuss that today.
Yeah. I have difficulty divorcing this from some of the conversations we've had about their two Scream films, because generally, especially Scream films from about like 3 up to now 7, I find that the supporting cast are always people that I'm interested in, but the movies just don't have time to give us too much. And I feel that way about this film. But I think the only one that stands out from that, from Bettinelli, Olpin, and Gillette's oeuvre, is Abigail, because I think it's a smaller, tighter cast, and everybody really gets something to do in that film.
And even that, though, I think out of all their films, that's my least favorite one.
Me too. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know. Maybe there is no middle line for these two.
Or we just I was going to say we need to have them making a 2-hour movie, but both of those Scream films are 2-hour movies.
Yeah. And obviously a Scream film is really its own entity. Folks, you can go back and listen to our thoughts. We have full-length episodes on both of those. But yeah, it just seems to be something where I'm so invested in these worlds, and I like these characters. The actors, as I said, are so well cast. I would just always happily spend a bit more time. But I think the other reason I enjoy the films as much as I do is because they are snappy. They are good with the pacing. They are in and out. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Ready or Not, I think, is a wildly entertaining film. So, I mean, at the very least, it has that going for it.
Yeah, and honestly, doing this rewatch made me so excited to at least get to spend more time with one Samara Weaving, who is a goddamn delight, and I can't wait to see what happens when you partner her up with Catherine Newton, who is also always a fucking delight.
I know. Honestly, with that sequel, we won't like belabor the sequel really, but I really, really hope Sarah Michelle Gellar has like substantial material. Like I hope she has a good amount of screen time, and I'm just worried based on, again, this film. Yeah, it's going to be really split kind of evenly between, again, another very large cast of characters.
Yeah, I'm going to put the landing mat out for you when your expectations take a fall, because I do think it's going to be very similar. Like, go in hoping for Andie MacDowell levels of screen time for SMG.
Yeah. At the very least, I hope we get a nice, like, fuck monologue from her, a la Samara Weaving's one in this one.
Ooh, yeah. Everybody's going to get to curse.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. Yeah. Okay, well, let's go through some of this production, shall we?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm actually pulling pretty much all of this from the 40-minute making-of featurette that is on the Blu-ray for Ready or Not. But basically, this script was written on spec by Guy Busick and Ryan Murphy, who is now...
Not that one, I'm guessing.
He is now credited as R. Christopher Murphy for very obvious reasons.
Yes, because I'm sure everyone just did a spit take until you elaborated.
Well, when I did a spit take when I was watching the featurette, and they were like, yeah, Guy Busick and Ryan Murphy, and I was like, say what? This is so cohesive for a Ryan Murphy property.
Too much so.
Yeah. But anyway, but basically, the reason they started writing this is because they just loved the idea of a Faustian bargain made by someone generations ago and how their descendants would have to deal with it.
Right. Okay. You started that sentence and I thought, oh my God, how many Faustian bargain movies do we have? But I agree. I do think a key selling feature is this idea that, you know, you're born into it and you can't fucking get out of it.
Which I think the closest example of a modern example of this we can come to is Mike Flanagan's The Fall of the House of Usher.
Right. Yeah. Great series, folks. We've got a Patreon minisode on that.
Mm-hmm. Now, before Ready or Not, because I mean, even though this is only 7 years ago, I was like, okay, well, these guys are all in a very different place now than they were. Because, so basically, before Ready or Not, neither Busick nor Murphy had written a ton, save for a few episodes of IFC's comedy series Stand Against Evil and the second season of Hulu's Castle Rock, the Misery season.
Right. And then also Popular and Glee. Oh, no, wait. Sorry. No, never mind.
Different Ryan Murphy. But I didn't know this. They were writing partners up until this point. So, like, all of their writing really was done together. And though Busick would go on to co-write Scream 5, 6, 7, and Final Destination Bloodlines and Abigail with other screenwriters.
Right.
Now, enter producer James Vanderbilt, who was tickled by the idea that this incredibly rich family would have no idea how to use these weapons against a woman. That was his selling point for this script.
Oh my God, that is a funny reason to jump on board.
Yeah. Now, I should point out that up until this point, he had co-written the screenplays for such cinematic gems as Darkness Falls, The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, the Andrew Garfield ones.
I don't actually mind those, but yeah.
Yeah, I think they're fine, actually. Even the second one I think is fun to watch, but anyway. And, this is the kicker, Independence Day Resurgence.
No. Oh, dear.
Now, Vanderbilt would go on to co-write the screenplays for Scream 5 and 6 with Guy Busick, and also get a story by credit on Scream 7, but the films he's also written by himself. David Fincher's Zodiac.
Oh, shit.
Mm-hmm, right, a far cry from the other films I just mentioned, right?
Yeah.
White House Down, and both of the Jennifer Aniston Adam Sandler comedies Murder Mystery 1 and 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that is a filmography.
I know. I was like, what? I can't peg this guy.
He is just doing whatever he fucking feels like. Okay, you know what? I love that for him.
I do too. But anyway, so Busick and Murphy did a couple of drafts of the script, and they sent it to a handful of people. And they, along with Vanderbilt, did meet with Radio Silence, but initially did not hire them.
Oh.
I'm not 100% why, but let's look at where Radio Silence was in 2019, which I think we've been over this before, but just in case everyone needs a refresher, Radio Silence is the name of the film collective formed by, as you said, Tyler Gillette and Matt Bettinelli-Olpin, along with Justin Martinez and Chad Villella. Now, typically, Gillette and Bettinelli-Olpin would direct. Martinez, it seems, would act as cinematographer, and Villella was mainly serving as the producer and occasional actor in their films.
Okay.
So by this point, 2019, they had all done the 10/31/98 segment in the first VHS film. They did the widely panned 2014 film Devil's Due and the 2015 anthology Southbound. Now, Martinez left the group after Southbound, so he wasn't involved with Ready or Not, while Vieira was reported to have left in 2025. So it seems he left after Abigail.
Right. And they really kind of stopped going by Radio Silence at a certain point, or do they continue to use that name?
Well, in Ready or Not, they're definitely credited as Radio Silence, I think, in the opening credits. Over the closing credits, I'm not really sure. But, I mean, this was at least 3 of the 4 were involved with this movie.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Anyway, a few weeks after their meeting, Vanderbilt and Company still hadn't found a director that they wanted, which is when they got a call from Radio Silence's agent asking them, hey, would you be willing to meet with them again? They were a little nervous because they were normally in a situation like this, you would have a director coming in being like, well, why wouldn't you hire me? Blah, blah, blah. Really egotistical.
Fuck you.
Yeah. And they noted that it wasn't like this at all. So for their second meeting, they came with concept art in tow. They were very humble. And Vanderbilt, Busick, and Murphy understood, oh, these guys get it.
Interesting. So they basically use the downtime between meetings to figure out, okay, we really want to do this. How do we woo our way into the job?
Pretty much, yeah. So they just did a bunch of storyboards, came up with many proofs of concept. Apparently, they actually made a game board, but instead of rooms on the game board, it was various graphic deaths.
Okay. Yeah. I like that.
So again, they were like, okay, these guys are passionate. They get it. I think we're going to work. So that being said, though, they were all a bit curious as to how the idea of a collective worked, which really that also may have been a turning off point for them where they were like, we don't need the baggage of 3 men coming on to work on this movie. We just need one director.
Right. Yeah. We're looking for someone to get behind the camera and direct the project. Do we need multiple bodies?
Exactly. So, and they were like, well, y'all have all worked together with a very specific sound. So how do y'all work together? And then also, how do you work with the crew of an entire movie? And, even actors, I think in this featurette, I want to say Weaving is well, if I have a question, who do I go to? But that turned out not to be an issue at all, with Bettinelli Olpin primarily working with the actors and Gillette primarily working with the crew. But when they had to cross over, they would be in total sync. No issues were had. So all the actors in this featurette said that they set the tone for a really fun shoot in every department.
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to interview them as they were prepping for the sequel, and everybody had nothing but compliments, said that they were the nicest, easiest guys, but also they can basically finish each other's sentences. They are so in sync.
I mean, they've been working together for so long, it's been 15 plus years probably by now.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where I think, you and I, we work well together, but we still have very distinct ideas. We've collaborated on things, but it's taken us a long time to kind of come together on how to do things. What's the right way? Is one person better off or better suited for something? Talking to these guys, it was honestly like they were sharing a brain. They knew exactly what the other one wanted, and they were in agreement.
Yeah, they're basically in a platonic gay relationship.
Look, I'm not going to suggest that there is a queer reading to be made for this movie that I can put 100% of my weight behind, but...
You're going to try?
Well, I do think that there's something very intriguingly queer about the properties that these two men have specifically developed since this project and moving into the Scream films and then Abigail.
Okay. Well, so when it comes to the look of Ready or Not, a very old money feel was desired. So a glow for the sets with polished wood and candles, and again, just this feeling of old money. Because of this, cinematographer Brett Jutkiewicz's camera work feels old and, in their words, less warm. And this was intentional because they said Grace, the Samara Weaving character, is the one who should feel young, new, and warm. So she should feel distinct from the rest of the design of the film.
Okay, sure.
Should say that Jutkiewicz also went on to shoot The Black Phone as well as Scream 5 and 6.
Okay.
And I think it's fair to say, again, this is a stacked cast, with Samara Weaving being the obvious MVP, albeit one of the lesser-known people. I mean, unless you were following the genre, but for mainstream audiences, she was definitely not a known entity by this point.
That's the thing. She's basically the ingenue because regular audiences wouldn't know her. And then it's this movie that cements her status as a Scream Queen. So when she opens up, Scream 6, everybody's like, oh, yeah, this makes total sense.
Absolutely. And she noted, one of the reasons she chose this script was because, I mean, look, she was getting a lot of horror movie scripts, as you do. And she said, it was just, I would read these scripts, and for so many of the women characters, they would use they would have a screaming fit, and it was always the word hysterical was used to describe describe women in these scripts. And so I read the script for Ready or Not, and I thought, okay, this is an opportunity for me to turn that hysterical woman trope on its head.
Right. Which also, the idea that we're still getting scripts with hysterical women in 2018, that's disappointing.
Not surprising, but sure.
Not surprising, but disappointing.
The biggest get that they got, by the way, was Andie MacDowell, who had never done a horror film before. They were really nervous about getting her working with it. They were like, oh my God, what's she going to be like? But she was, again, very game. And I'm sure everyone already knows this, but I always forget that Margaret Qualley is her daughter.
Right. Yeah. No, it's so obvious when you connect it, but I also forgot.
Yeah, for sure. Now, filming took place during October and November 2018, primarily in Toronto, and had its world premiere at the Fantasia Film Festival in Montreal in June of 2019, before getting a wide theatrical release on August 21st, 2019, against fellow newcomers, Angel Has Fallen, the third one of those Gerard Butler president movies, and the Christian drama film Overcomer.
Wow. If you paid me money, I would not be able to tell you what the plot or who stars in that second title.
Oh, I looked it up. No one of note.
Okay,
but
fair.
Here's the thing. Both of those films beat Ready or Not at that weekend box office.
Yeah, this is the other funny thing. I have told myself a lie since this movie came out that this movie was really successful. And it is. You're going to tell us about how it does financially. But I remembered in my head that this was like a $60 to $80 million grossing movie.
Yeah. I mean, it is worldwide. But yeah. So, but here's the thing, though. It was only projected to gross about $6.5 million its opening weekend. And it did surpass expectations by grossing $8 million, landing in the number 6 spot.
Boo.
I know. But here's the thing. It had decent staying power, so it only dropped 26% in its second weekend, grossing another $6 million. And I think it was in number 4 or 5 that second weekend. So it did move up. Mm-hmm. It finished its theatrical run with a domestic gross of $28.7 million and an international gross of $28.9 million for a worldwide total of $57.6 million against a production budget of $6 million. So, I mean, it broke its budget its opening weekend, even though those numbers on their own aren't really that impressive.
Yeah, the numbers look soft, but when you take into consideration the budget, the fact that, it's anchored by a lead who isn't incredibly well known, the cast is impressive, but also, I'm not going to lie, many of these people are also Canadian. So it's like, it's not going to be the biggest film, but I just would have thought that the word of mouth would have really carried this far. And I guess it does in hindsight. You can look at it and say, yeah, it definitely hung on there because if you gross $8 million, that's almost 5 times the budget?
I mean, here's the thing, though, and I'm going to date the episode. We're recording this about 2 weeks before the sequel comes out, and right now it's projected to gross $11 million opening weekend. So,
which baffles
me, right? I guess I thought this film had taken on more of a following in the 7 years since its release.
That's the thing. I feel like the cultural footprint for this film is huge, and yet those financials are not adding up. The math is not mathing.
But you know what? If that sequel has a budget of $6 million, or, let's even say $10 million, maybe they almost doubled it. It's I think it's safe. I think it's a safe movie, but we'll see. Right. Now, it did fare very well critically, though. So we're looking at an 89% on Rotten Tomatoes. Letterboxd users have given this a 3.5 out of 5, and CinemaScore audiences gave this a B+.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, I don't think anyone was really expecting a sequel, but that's exactly what we're getting this week. So, we do have Samara Weaving returning as the only surviving cast member of this film. But I will say, much of the crew, so the directors, screenwriters, cinematographer, production designer, and costume designer are all returning from the first film.
Right.
The parts being replaced for the sequel are the composer, the editor, and the art director.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, we also switched locations, so we're not shooting in Casa Loma anymore.
Yeah, but wait, so where did we shoot the sequel? Is it still in Toronto proper then?
It's still in Toronto, yeah.
Okay, yeah, just not the same area. I guess, they burned down the house in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, but that's it, Joe. What happens in this movie?
From the executive producers of Stranger Things comes a series that asks the question, are you sure he's the one? Something very bad is going to happen is an atmospheric psychological horror set in the 5 days leading up to an intimate wedding, starring Camilla Morrone and Adam DeMarco. This isn't just a story about cold feet. It's about the visceral anxiety and mounting terror of realizing you might be marrying the wrong person As Rachel questions whether Nikki is truly the one, her doubts spiral into something darker, and the show explores the ultimate horror. How can you ever be certain you've made the right choice? It's edgy, and it's not a spoiler if it's in the title. Something very bad is going to happen. The only question is, what is it? Watch Something Very Bad Is Going to Happen on March 26th, only on Netflix.
Okay, so I'm giving you a heads up. I'm going to ask you to play my game of where have we seen these people. So the repeat offenders game.
Oh no, there's so many.
I was going to say there's so many, but often it's very obvious or it's so hard you're never going to get it. So we're going to have fun with it.
I figured.
Okay, so we begin with a prologue where we follow a slow panning shot of a games room. So we're really establishing the mood, games front and center.
Yeah.
And then we see young Alex and young Daniel, who are played by Chase Churchill and Etienne Calisi, respectively. And they are running through this enormous house. So this is like a fucking palace. I've been to Casa Loma. You can take tours here. I think I definitely said this when we covered this movie the first time, but like, this used to be owned by some of the richest people in the city, and now it's a fucking museum.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, a museum for what?
Partially films that have been shot here in Toronto. You can also do escape rooms, and you can also do like a haunted tour around Halloween. It's very fun.
Oh, okay, cool.
But yeah, like typically you cannot just go in. Like this is private property. But we do shoot a lot of movies, such as this one here. So Alex ends up getting locked in an armoire by his older brother, Daniel, and this is when he is confronted by a bleeding man in a tux who is played by Andrew Anthony, and Daniel turns him in. So, this man is like, please don't say anything. And of course, Daniel just immediately screams for help. So we get a bunch of people showing up on the scene, and Charles is killed by a crossbow as his bride, Helene, who is played in this iteration by Elena Dunkelman, screams. Because, she's in a wedding gown, so clearly this is her betrothed.
Yeah, and truthfully, actually, I'm happy we're getting a sequel. I could see a world in which we got a prequel with the Helene story, because I think, even though I guess it might be a little bit like, we're just doing the same thing over again, but
right.
I do feel like that Helene is the character that I do want more insight from throughout this film.
Right. Yeah, because she's essentially the Alex of the film. And, there's a bit of a through line. There's a nice moment where she suggests, well, he's the only person who's seen Mr. LaBelle, and it's time for him to take his position at the head of the table and, assume the responsibility for the family fortune. And you get the impression that she very much sees Alex as the most reasonable, most responsible descendant that she has. And yet they share almost no screen time together in this movie. So it does feel like, there'd be some interesting connections you could make.
Well, and again, like, she clearly doesn't want her husband to get killed in this opening scene. And that's like where she is 30 years from now is very, very, and granted, we can put the lines together, this clearly like fucked her up, and she was like just closed herself off, and she just bought into the family's bullshit after this because the love of her life was killed.
Yeah.
But I still would have liked more from this character.
Oh, absolutely. I love the Helene character, not just because I think she's very, very funny 30 years from now, but I think it's a fascinating turn. And you're right, we can definitely piece the pieces together, but also what does that 30 years look like for her? Because we don't see another man in her life. He could have died by this point, but you very much get the impression that, okay, this was the one chance at happiness, didn't work out immediately, and then she just, settles into this sad life for the rest of it?
That's what it seems like. I mean, that's the thing. She devoted her entire life to Satan.
I guess, yeah. Which, I guess, in some ways it's like, well, I lost a husband, so I married Satan.
Yeah.
Which, who among us has not? Okay, so before we leave this prologue, we do have Daniel being praised by his mother, Becky, who is still here played by Andie MacDowell. So kudos on that skincare regime, ma'am, because you'd be looking great 30 years later.
Do we see her face, though? I feel like we're shot from behind her.
Good question. It's definitely her voice. I could have sworn it was her, but maybe not.
Whatever.
Whatever. It's fine. Anyway, yeah. And then we jump ahead 30 years. So I'm going to start you off easy, Trace. Have we ever talked about Annie McDowell on the pod?
No, we have not.
No, we have not.
Okay. I know, because I looked up her filmography and I was like, okay, I can't say she's never been in a horror movie before unless I'm 100% sure. So I looked that up beforehand.
I looked up her filmography and I was wowed at how few of her movies I've actually seen. You know, you can rattle off the big obvious titles, but I'll confess, I'm saying 4 Weddings and a Funeral, so...
See, and I've seen 4 Weddings and a Funeral. Not my favorite, actually. It's one of my least favorite rom-coms of that period, but I have never seen Groundhog Day.
Okay, see, and I have. And it's fun, but you might enjoy it. It's a silly comedy that also has a good emotional hook.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so we jumped ahead 30 years. Let's introduce Grace, who is played by Samara Weaving. And she is practicing her vows in her wedding gown in front of the mirror. And I'm gonna plant the seed of my soft gay read of this movie, which is not that there are queer characters. I don't think that this film reads particularly queer. Aside from the fact that Grace feels like a queer figure, it's very obvious to say, oh, well, you know, this foster care woman is looking to inherit a found family. But I think also she tries to put herself into a classically heteronormative family/lifestyle. And she is immediately reduced to outsider status and preyed upon and hunted and tried to exterminate.
Yeah, I mean, because I think the obvious theme here is the class critique, and so I think if you could weave that into a queer read of the character.
Yeah. I think the other interesting thing, and this is the one that I have way less confidence in, but part of me feels like this film and then also the other Radio Silence titles that we talked about, so the 2 Scream films and then also Abigail, they all do have this interesting found family angle to them. Like, it's really about different misfits sort of coming together and finding a kind of community. And I think it's really interesting that this is also the text that produces a star. Like, I'm going to say she's a bit of a queer icon. Like, when the gays see Samara Weaving in a title, the gays and the horror gays, we all kind of go a little gaga.
Oh, yeah. Again, the first thing I ever saw her in, I think was Ash vs. Evil Dead. Yeah. And again, she's in maybe 2 episodes because she gets killed by that house immediately, or the cabin.
But she's so fucking memorable. I remember being incredibly upset when I realized, oh, she's just done.
Yeah, she's not staying
because
around.
I totally thought that she was going to be the lead along with Bruce Campbell, and I was so excited.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, because she's great. Like, I've never seen a bad Samara Weaving performance.
I don't think I have either.
No. I mean, admittedly, you look at her filmography, and I think she's still under 10 films at this point.
I mean, here's maybe. I don't know. I know you don't care for them, but I really do enjoy those babysitter movies.
I think that they're fun. I don't always think they're good. I do think we should cover them on the pod in the future.
I think so. I mean, I think because the second one, she has basically a glorified cameo in, but it's still, I remember it was a big surprise when she showed up in it because no one expected her to come back.
Truly. Yeah. And I do think she's great in that first film. And also, I love Robbie Amell.
Oh my God, me too.
So hot. So hot.
And he also seems very nice.
Oh, yes. Unlike his brother cousin.
Yeah, his brother gets him in a lot of trouble. Yeah.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Steven just needs a shut the fuck up.
I know. And I really liked Arrow, but yeah, that guy, shut up. Stop talking.
Yeah. Be pretty and stop talking. Okay, Grace doing her wedding vows. She looks lovely. I love this wedding dress. It's understated, but also refined.
So the dress. Okay. So the good thing for you, Joe, is that this 40-minute featurette, I want to say 15 minutes of it is devoted to the costumes for each character.
Oh, my boy learned something.
So costume designer Avery Plews wanted to create a dress with a lot of coverage and layers so they could take away the pieces as the film goes on. So there were about 17 different versions of the dress. Yes.
Oh my God.
And the yellow chucks were something to give her a pop of color, but here's the funny thing. Converse used to make yellow, but they were discontinued by the time this film was being filmed, and Plews didn't realize that. So they bought gray chucks and had them custom painted yellow for the film.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Also, that's annoying.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, Converse, let's make a yellow shoe.
Okay, so she's practicing her vows. She lights a cigarette and she tells her reflection that she can't wait to join the fucked up family of her fiance, Alex, who is played by Mark O'Brien, as he enters, and he tries to placate her fears that his whole family hates her because, of course, she's the outsider. His family seems very close-knit.
Yeah, and Mark O'Brien, I think, is the one member of this cast that I really was unfamiliar with because I didn't watch *Halt and Catch Fire*.
Right. Oh, such a
I know. I know. You've told me so many good things about it because that's also where Mackenzie Davis, you discovered her, right?
And Lee Pace. He's a total fucking asshole. So good. So good.
Okay.
And Toby Huss. Yes. Okay. So I think the other interesting thing about this is obviously, yes, the class angle. We're going to keep hitting that point across the head for the entire duration of the episode. But here, Grace is introduced as this classical female role model, right? Like, it's a bride. It's her special day.
Yeah.
Very obviously somebody that a lot of people can put themselves into this role, and especially female audience members who may have envisioned a similar day for themselves. I typically find men don't think of their wedding day quite as often as children. But but I do think it's really interesting that Grace is less about, like, she's not actually interested in the marriage to the point that she and Alex don't share a ton of scenes together. I think they have okay chemistry together as actors.
I mean, the scene is the big one, really.
This and, like, they start to fuck, but then, Helena's there, so it interrupts stuff.
Right.
But like, for the most part, it truly does seem that Grace is more interested in marrying into the family as opposed to necessarily just marrying Alex.
Well, yeah, and definitely, and the money doesn't really seem to be a factor. And we'll learn later in not a throwaway line, but just an exposition line where it's like, yeah, she grew up in foster homes. So, I mean, and it's a little cliche, right? Where it's like, like the poor girl doesn't really care about the money. She only cares about the family, blah, 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 blah. But, I mean, it endears you to her.
Absolutely. It does. Yeah. And Weaving really sells this. So you don't have any reason to suspect that she's lying about that.
That's the thing. I think that Weaving is really good at just sincerity in her performances.
Yes. Yeah. And she can also sell the kind of, I want to get married so I can be with this family, as much as I'm going to fuck these people up because they fucked me up first.
But and I don't even know if I believe this, but is she like what we would call a Mary Sue in this movie?
It's interesting, right? It's hard not to compare her to somebody like You're Next, right? Where that explains away, well, how is she so good at all this? Oh, she's got the survivalist background. Whereas here, I think it's more, I read Grace as rising to the occasion. We know she's had a bit of a hardship before she got into this situation, but I think, some of it is definitely luck because this family is so fucking bad at doing this, as we will repeatedly discuss, but also when Grace needs to, she will rise to the challenge.
And I guess, because she actually does have a lot of bad things happen to her in this movie. I didn't even think about the Your Next pairing. That would make a great double feature.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like, obviously both very good for her texts. And I think if you want to gently tweak the definition, because I'm a bit of a purist when it comes to something like the final girl moniker. I tend to reserve that exclusively for slasher films. But I think both of these are almost hybrids of a slasher because they are being stalked. They are being threatened. It's like a reverse home invasion film.
I was going to say, it's like a reverse slasher where it's the killers who are getting picked off one by one.
Yes, which also lends itself to comedy, which is why this is a horror comedy.
Yes.
Okay, before we move on, Trace, play my game. Okay. Tell me where we have seen Samara Weaving before.
Well, definitely Scream 6. I know we've talked about that. And then
Correct.
that not great movie she did with Jack Nicholson's son last year, Borderline.
Correct. Those are the two.
Oh, that's it? Oh,
yes.
Fuck. Awesome. Yes.
Yes. And I'm also going to pimp out a movie that I have no idea when it's actually coming out, but she has a movie with Kyle Gallner called Caroline Carolina, and it's a road trip movie where they're kind of Bonnie and Clyde-ish. Really enjoyed it out of tips. So it's genre adjacent, but keep it on your radar. It's worth supporting.
Love it. Haven't even heard of it, so yay.
Yeah. Okay. Same game, Trace. Mark O'Brien.
Oh, I have absolutely no... Honestly, I don't recognize this man at all. I have no idea what we've talked about him in.
You are a liar, sir. We talked about him just at the end of last year because he turns up in a 2-episode arc on Hannibal, season 2.
Is he a killer?
He is the queer-coded killer who gets turned into the bear thing.
Oh yeah, I would never have called that in a million years.
I spent a lot of time enthusiastically praising his half-naked body in those episodes, so...
Okay, yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Because that's where Will finally gets enticed by Hannibal to commit a murder.
No, it's definitely all coming back to me now. And this guy doesn't have a memorable face. Actually, he kind of looks like a sleazebag, which I think suits his role in this movie for when he has to make the turn at the end.
I will politely disagree. I think that he's incredibly attractive, but in a very generic hot kind of way. So I can see him being sort of like folded out for somebody else who is also generically hot, but I agree. I think it makes you underestimate him. So when he does the heel turn, you're properly surprised.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm also going to take this opportunity to pimp out another movie that he's been in that I really like that more horror people should have checked out. So he has a film that he directed, and it is called The Righteous. It co-stars one Henry Czerny. It is black and white, inky, gorgeous, religious horror. Can't recommend it enough.
Oh, okay. Also, good for Henry Czerny.
Yeah. Okay, so we have Alex and Grace. They're talking about the wedding. Alex is trying to reassure her, don't worry about the family. This is when Daniel comes in. So he's played by Adam Brody, and he reminds Grace that there is still time to bail. So we are establishing that Daniel is a bit of the jokester kind of figure in the film. And after he leaves, Alex repeats that offer. So Alex will actually say, there's still time to get out of this. And Grace insists that she is all the way in. But I do love Weaving's delivery of, oh, fuck no, when he asks if she is ready to do this.
And then we smash cut to the title card. But I will say, though, we, the audience, know what movie we are about to watch. So we know that she is going to get hunted by this family. But
yes,
the way that Alex is phrasing hey, this is your out if you want to leave. And this is also how you know that Alex is kind of a shitty character, because he will give reasons as to why he didn't tell Grace about this beforehand.
Nope.
But
none of them, you don't buy any of them, because they're just like, no, dude, you literally could have said it right then. Hey, something terrible is going to happen if you say I do.
And I think this is what Becky, the Annie McDowell mother character, will say, where she's like, I know you more than this girl does. I promise you will make this decision. And it's a thing where it's it's clear he's only into this because Grace wants him. He doesn't want to say or do anything that might make her leave him. And that's why he eventually makes the heel turn at the end.
Yeah. And it's so weird, right? Because in some ways, she is his life raft for this family. We will come to learn that he has stepped away from the family for 2 years. And it's only this marriage that has started to bring him back into the fold, because you have to get married here. You have to do it under very specific circumstances to appease Mr. LaBelle. So he still buys that, but he did try to get out, and he was using Grace as that excuse or that opportunity to live a more normal life. So it is wild. I do kind of love his arc, even though it is understated in this movie. It's really happening in the background.
And there is another version of this movie where the cold open isn't the, let's see what happened 30 years ago. It's Grace and Alex's meet cute, and then a montage of their courtship, and then we get to this point.
Yeah, it's him rushing out for a date with her and then coming back and then having to slaughter a goat with the family or something.
Yeah, well, apparently he did do fairly recently, so.
Yes, he did. Okay, before we move on, Adam Brody.
Okay, this one I feel like is the big one. So, Jennifer's Body, Scream 4.
Yes.
I
think that's it.
There is one more. I know what it is. It's Promising Young Woman.
Oh my God, Promising Young Woman. Of course, I forgot that one stacked all of the famous young men of Hollywood.
But actually, wait, have we? Oh, we've done an audio commentary on The Ring in which he plays one of those random teens at the funeral that Naomi Watts goes outside and talks to.
Well done.
I only know this because I screened The Ring for Terror Tuesday recently, and I was like, oh, right, that's Adam Brody.
Yes. Well, if only because he's not a part of that film, but obviously he's also a part of the movie where your attention is not on what's going on at that funeral. It's because you're waiting. You're waiting for that big scare.
Yeah, but still, that's pre the OC, I think, so.
Yes, or it would have been right at the same
beginning.
Time.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Let's take wedding pictures. So we're introduced to Father Tony, who is played by Ruben.
Oh my God,
Henry Czerny.
I will say, every performance I see from him, his voice sounds like the Jigsaw voice, but in the featurette, I feel like he just does a different vocal cadence for all of his performances, because he doesn't have the rasp in his day-to-day voice that he does in a lot of his films that I've seen him in.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I mean, I guess that could be one way he sort of distinguishes a role or a character, so could make sense.
Yeah, but I mean, like, so, yeah, if you show me Henry Czerny, I'm like, oh, revenge. Like, that's Conrad Grayson.
100%. Yeah. Get out your red fucking Sharpie, circle that face, and let's go. Oh, man, revenge.
Revenge.
Okay, yeah, so he believes that Alex could have done better. And he's also, yes, dropping the exposition that Alex was gone for 2 years. We've got Grace getting stared down by Aunt Helene, who is now played by Nikki Guadagni. And Daniel is reassuring his wife, who is played by Elise Levesque, that Grace will never be one of them because she has a soul. So, okay, Trace. Henry Czerny, where have we seen him before?
I mean, Scream 6 for sure.
Yeah, I think that's it.
That's okay, cool.
Yeah. Here's a fun one. Where have we seen Nikki Guadagni before?
Joe, I have absolutely no idea.
Okay, so I didn't know this either. I only know this because I put the game together. She's apparently in Silent Hill, which makes sense because Silent Hill was shot around here, like Toronto and its surrounding area.
I'm on the movies Wikipedia. Let me look at this.
I think she's just one of the old hags.
Yeah, she's the mother of the girl that gets skinned by Pyramid Head.
Okay.
Wow. But also, Joe, you are missing one.
Am I missing one?
She is tattooist in David Cronenberg's Crash.
Oh, you know what it is? I could not remember if we had talked about Crash on our podcast or if we had just done a guest appearance on it.
Oh, fuck. Actually, maybe we did. Maybe it was a guest appearance.
I truly cannot remember.
We definitely talked about it together.
Yeah. I was thinking about that movie the other day and I was like, what podcast did we do that on?
Okay, anyway, it definitely wasn't us. I just checked. But I will tell you, I did screen that for a Weird Wednesday, and that is probably one of the most perplexed I have ever seen an audience full of people walk out of a theater.
Yeah, it's not a good first-time watch with a group of people.
No, it was very uncomfortable. I mean, I had fun with it, but like...
Oh, sure.
Like, the medical, like, put his penis in your anus scene, it inspired a lot more laughter than I was hoping.
Yes, because I think part of that movie's appeal, but also the thing that repels people is that it is so clinical. And if you're just not prepared for that, I think it's only going to instill laughter.
Yeah.
Which I hate, but I understand it's just not a movie for everybody.
No. I mean, it's one of those movies where I think like where it works best seeing it with people who have already seen it and know what they're in for.
Yeah. Going into it with eyes wide open. As opposed to Eyes Wide Shut, which we've also covered, but we have covered that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we get another couple of quick takes, and we see the married couple now kissing. So we just skip over the vows. We skip over the whole marriage ceremony because who fucking cares? We just need to know that they got married, and everybody's clapping except Aunt Helene, who is scowling,
just constantly scowling.
Okay, so upstairs, the pair begin to sexily celebrate as Alex once again tries to explain something, but he's not getting to the point because, you know, we are trying to do hands and dick stuff, so...
Oh, also fun costume thing. So Alex wears a blue tux in this movie because black is, according to the costume designer, boring. And given how she knew horror films were lit, she wanted to avoid him turning into a black vortex. And Becky, Andie MacDowell, also wears blue to mirror their relationship with each other.
All right. Yeah, she's not exactly a helicopter mom because obviously her kids are all adults, but... Would you say that she is overprotective of the kids, or is it...
It does seem like she has coddled them a bit because but she also doesn't seem to really like any of them except for Alex. And I think that's the thing is like Andie MacDowell's performance is really good in this movie because she's the only one of these family members besides Alex to really connect with Grace. She even tells Grace, like, one of my kids finally brought home a good one. And I think that makes both her relationship with Alex and with Grace, together as separate, so interesting. And I did want the film to play more with that or really like deal with that. Or like Becky's feelings about what she has to do to Grace, even though she likes her, which we get bits of it, but I would have taken more of it again.
Yeah. I think part of what we respond to as well is that these are the two human members of this family.
Right.
Like Tony is probably the next closest, but he also really becomes just hysterical the later the night goes on because he's so worried about what's going to happen.
The script described him as a petulant child, and so that's what Czerny was working with the entire time.
Yeah. And then, you know, the other two kids, which we'll introduce in a moment, are fucking imbeciles. Yeah. So it makes sense. Like, I mean, I'm not going to suggest Daniel is an imbecile, but like, He's clearly not there to help them.
I think that Daniel's having the biggest like moral crisis in the movie. And while, again, it's not really front and center, I do think you can see that in Brody's performance.
I agree. And I think the reason that that's working is also because he has a relationship with Grace. Like, not a fully fleshed out one, because you very much get the impression that none of these people met Grace before today, right? Mm-hmm. Like, we only came back here for the wedding, and Alex probably wouldn't have ever introduced her to them if not for that. But it's clear that both Becky and Daniel see that Grace is a genuinely good human being, whereas the other two spouses that we will meet, Charity and Fitch, are clearly the gold-digging whores that Daniel was worried about. Like, they married into the family for money.
But I love that they're not, like, the same, you know? Like, Fitch is very much a coward, and Charity is very opportunistic.
Yes, yeah. But I would argue that there are quite a bit more caricatures than they are real human beings. I don't mind it in this movie because I think we have enough people that feel grounded and normal-ish.
Right.
But I also think that they get the boatload of the comedy, so that works to offset and make sure that, you know, this is a balanced out film.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yes, we're making out on the bed. That's when we spot Aunt Helene, who ominously declares they'll have to hide better than that. This, I will confess, does not entirely work for me. I like her lurking in the shadows because I think it's very fun, but this suggestion that she already seems to know a particular card will be pulled.
But I think, though, again, we can only infer this, but it seems like, again, because this is the quote-unquote one good one of these kids has brought home, maybe it could be true love or whatever. I don't really know if I believe that or not, but it seems like this is the best match that any of these kids has had. And so, of course, I think...
Makes for the best sacrifice.
Well, yeah, exactly. And maybe it was the same with Helene, where it was like, no, she clearly seemed to really love the man she was about to marry. So, and do you get a lot of love between Emily and Fitch or Daniel and Charity?
It's tricky because obviously the answer is no, but I guess I would have default assumed that those feelings were there when they got married. Like, we don't get a good sense of how long the other couples have been married, but I took it as it's been a little while.
Yeah. I mean, I took it as that they were not always like, I mean, I'm sorry. I took it as that they've kind of been like this the entire time. Because, I mean, again, if Becky didn't like them from the beginning, I would...
Sure.
I wouldn't imagine it would have got... I mean, it would probably get worse, but I don't think it changed much from when they got married.
Right. Okay. I did jump over the bit where Becky talks to Grace before the actual ceremony, and she essentially says, fuck him, you know, keep your head held up high, because obviously she also married into this family. Like, Tony is Helene's brother. So Becky would have gone through what Grace is going through.
Right. And I think that's, again, why I just think Becky is the most fascinating character, because she did marry into this, but she also seems the most level-headed. And I think, to borrow your words, the most human out of all of these characters.
I get the impression she's very pragmatic, right? Like, she understands what she has gotten herself into. She doesn't like it. She doesn't maybe even agree with it, but she understands that it must be seen through.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So, yes. And Helene is basically saying, okay, you're going to have to do this thing. And Grace is like, well, that was weird. So what's going on? So this is where we introduce the Chekhov's servants corridor that we will use to get around through large portions of this film. But Alex explains that at midnight, they'll have to play a game, which is something that always happens when someone new joins the family.
Okay, I did love this, though. We'll see you downstairs in the music room. And her reply is, oh, yes, a totally normal room to have in a house.
Some of this dialogue truly sings. I find the jokes very, very good. Like, often in horror comedies, I'm finding the comedy is a bit hit and miss. I find almost all this comedy just chef's kiss perfect.
The batting average for this one is really good
high
compared to your average horror comedy, for sure.
Okay, so Grace takes a moment to put on her game face. So we've got Tony and Alex downstairs, and they're looking at the empty chair at the head of the table, and they're ominously talking about pulling that card. Again, if you didn't know the marketing, if you really didn't know where this film was going to go, I think that this would all be very, ooh, what's going to happen? As it is, it feels like dark foreshadowing.
Yeah, and that is the thing. Like, I remember, and again, it's similar with that second one where they have a Red Band trailer out showing a bunch of gore and people popping and whatever, and I was like, I feel like almost every maid's death was spoiled in. And again, they're not really characters, but they're still good kills. Like, I don't like having like a bunch of kills. Like, put one or maybe two, but don't put a bunch of kills in your trailer.
Yeah, like I went into this film, so this first Ready or Not film, not knowing anybody was going to pop. I knew people were going to die, but I didn't know anybody was going to pop. And if that had been spoiled for me, I would have been pissed.
I don't know if the popping was spoiled. Maybe I'm miscorrect there, but I know that like the arrow in the mouth, that's definitely in the trailer.
For sure. Yeah. Okay, so Grace ultimately enters, and Stevens, the butler, who is played by John Ralston, plays Here Comes the Bride on the piano. Trace, here's a fun one. John Ralston.
No
Where have we
way.
seen him before?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know where I would begin to guess. So you have to just give me this answer or answers.
I'm going to give you one tease, and we'll see. It should help to narrow it down a little bit. It's from a Canadian movie we have covered.
That doesn't narrow it down, Joe.
I mean, it does. We've covered quite a few Canadian films, but...
I have absolutely no idea what this would be.
Okay, so he is a minor character in Infinity Pool.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like, what we're going to have to do one day is put a list of the number of Canadian films we've covered, because I bet you it's more than most podcasts out there.
I mean, I would hope so.
Yeah.
Unless it's a specifically Canadian podcast, yeah.
And granted, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying you do make it a point to make sure we cover as much Canadian film as possible.
This is true. It's part of my nationalistic pride. It's what I do to promote Canada. I'm actually paid by the Tourism Board of Canada. So.
If only that were true.
Oh my God. Another source of income. I could actually take a vacation someday. Okay, so we get a quick backstory that Grace, yes, was raised in foster care. She's always wanted a real permanent family. Becky low-key says like, oh, that's so great. Also, hey, could you try to bring my son back into this because he's kind of drifted away a little bit? This is one of those moments kind of like what you were suggesting with Alex, where you say, oh, I can see the heel turn, or even just the multitudes within this character. I think Becky legitimately means it, oh, you seem nice, I like you, but also, hey, can you do me a solid and bring my son back to me?
But it makes her, again, like where it's like the second she draws that card, like, I mean, she still cares about Grace. She tells Alex, I don't want to do this, but we have to do this.
Have to do it. Yeah.
From the executive producers of Stranger Things comes a series that asks the question, are you sure he's the one? Something very bad is going to happen is an atmospheric psychological horror set in the 5 days leading up to an intimate wedding. Starring Camilla Morrone and Adam DeMarco, this isn't just a story about cold feet. It's about the visceral anxiety and mounting terror of realizing you might be marrying the wrong person. As Rachel questions whether Nikki is truly the one, her doubts spiral into something darker. And the show explores the ultimate horror. How can you ever be certain you've made the right choice? It's edgy, and it's not a spoiler if it's in the title. Something very bad is going to happen. The only question is, what is it? Watch Something Very Bad is Going to Happen on March 26th, only on Netflix.
Okay, so this is when Alex presses Grace about what Becky said, and she can immediately sense that there is something off. Like, why are you so persistently asking me what your mother spoke to me about? Because for Grace, this is great. I'm making some inroads with your mother. And all of a sudden, Alex seems so suspicious. He's pressing her on this. So it's another sign, something's off here.
You know what else, too? Because I got the impression that both Emily and Daniel had told their partners about, hey, by the way, if you draw hide and seek, we're going to kill you before the wedding actually happened. So
well, maybe just you're going to have to play a game, but if you can get through it, and the chances of you having to do anything dumb or dangerous is very, very small. Yeah. But also, once you're in, fame and fortune forever.
But I think that Daniel does tell Cherry, like, remember when I told you didn't bat an eye? So right. I think she knew this is what's going to happen. So maybe that's also playing into, okay, well, why does Grace get the hide and seek card? Because she, I mean, we don't know this, but potentially is the only one of these three spouses that didn't know going into it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's also the moment near the end of the film when Grace has survived this ordeal and everyone in this family has popped, and she does see Mr. LaBelle, and he gives her a head nod as if to say, well
good
done.
Job.
I mean, basically, you played well. You have won my affection or admiration or something. But there's also a mention that Alex is the only person who has ever seen Mr. LaBelle. So it makes me wonder if there are certain things that lend themselves better to these prophetic games, right?
Yeah, because that's true. If Alex is the only one, so maybe Mr. LaBelle, Satan, reveals himself to people that he knows. When you get married, I'm coming for your spouse.
A little bit, yeah. I'm interested because, spoiler alert, for sure we're going to explore some of the mythology behind LaBelle and the other families that are teased, however briefly, in this film. That's where the sequel is really going to go. So I do think we're going to get a few more answers as to how does this all work and so on. Like, I think the movie does a really good job of giving us enough to get through this film, but I think the second film is going to say, you maybe had a couple of lingering questions. We're happy to explore those now.
Because, and I forget about this because I've seen this movie so many times since I first saw it, but on that first viewing, you're still constantly wondering, is this real or is this just something they've made up? And yeah, as you say, we get that mention of, I think, the Van Horn family whose house went up in flames, and Tony's like, no, LaBelle got them.
Yeah, I remember clocking that and saying, oh, but we don't know who those people are. So I guess that's the indicator that, sure, it's real, or that Tony is hysterical or being petulant.
Yeah, but it's also one of those lines where it's like, okay, they're taking this to run off with the whole idea of like a mass cabal for the sequel.
Oh my God. It's a wildly exciting way to spin it off. Okay, so this is when the absent Le Domas sibling shows up. So we have sister Emily, who is played by Melanie Scrofano, as well as her husband Fitch, who we have talked about. He's played by Christian Brunn. Trace, I'm going to give you an out for Brunn. We have not covered him on the pod, although obviously many people will recognize him as Allison's husband from Orphan Black.
Yeah, that's definitely what I know him from.
Yeah. They also have annoying twin boys who wear masks that annoy Daniel. So these were similar masks that we saw the boys playing with in the prologue. So obviously he's understandably not happy to see them again. We have talks of private flights. So, we couldn't get onto the regular private plane out of De Gaulle. Emily also has a very obvious coke on her upper lip. And
I really, really appreciate how Grace is like very subtly like, oh, I'm great, wiping her nose. And again, Emily gets it. But yeah, like right off the bat, we're like, oh, okay, we kind of immediately know what kind of character Emily is going to be.
Yes, these two are privileged. They are ridiculous. So, it immediately distinguishes them from the other people. Charity is... she's not dumb. She's just a bitch. She's kind of cutthroat. Whereas Emily, when she's introduced, you're like, oh, God, you're the messy one.
Charity, so this Elise Levesque who plays her, if she could be in a movie with Miriam Shore from Younger and like
literally thought that.
Play her younger self 100%.
Yeah, it's wild. It is wild. I will say, great comedy beat when Emily says hi or waves hi to Aunt Helene, and she notes that her niece continues to exist. Brown-haired niece.
Brown hair. She doesn't even use her name.
Just like, oh, everyone has written off Emily. She's a waste of space.
And I honestly, out of all the kids, I empathize with Daniel the most because, again, the moral conflict he's doing. But I do empathize with Emily a bit just because it's like, oh, man, like, I feel like she's spoiled, she's rich, whatever. But I feel like this family has never treated her seriously.
No. And then she married this idiot. So it's not helping matters. Okay, before we move on, Scrofano. Where have we seen her before?
Oh, God. See, I didn't watch Winona Earp, but that's the only thing that I know that she's really known for.
It is the thing that she is very well known for. Very, very queer. If folks like your kind of genre westerny vibe, big recommend.
Okay.
Going to give you a hint. It's a film you picked.
No, I do know what this is. I do know what it is.
Okay,
it is...
say it properly. Say the name properly.
Nurse 3D?
No, say the name properly, Trace.
What is the name properly? What do you mean?
Nurse 3D.
Shiitake mushrooms. That sounds great.
Folks, I will never forgive you for not downloading that episode more. Because
know!
the numbers were not great. Admittedly, not a great movie, not a well-known movie, but that episode is a fucking bag of fun.
And Scrofano is really funny in her, like, 2 scenes. But again, it's one of those things, it's like, you want more of her because she is she's so charismatic and she really throws herself into these types of performances.
Yeah, when I saw this on her filmography, it took me back. I had to look it up and be like, oh, that's the same person, because she looks identical, but the characters are so extremely different. Like, she plays the HR person in Nurse 3D, if you've forgotten, folks.
Oh, no, yeah, with the smiley face stickers.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Yeah. Okay. At 11:55 p.m., they enter a new room that is off limits to everyone except the family, and it is filled with taxidermied animals as well as weapons on all of the walls. And this is where Tony tells a story about family tradition. So, how did the business begin? It was with playing cards, then they moved into sporting goods and board games and sports teams. But the success that they have isn't luck, Trace. It is thanks to their benefactor, Mr. LaBelle, and a mysterious box.
I tried to look up because the film will confirm at the end that this is definitely Satan that we are talking about here. Yes. But I couldn't find if like LaBelle was in kind of any satanic mythology. Every time I searched for it, it just pulled up, oh, that's the bad guy in Ready or Not.
Yeah, I feel like we tried to do that when we first covered the film as well, because it did seem new to us. And I can't remember if somebody clocked it and said, oh, this is where it's pulling the reference from. So I apologize for not being able to remember something from like 7 years ago.
Again.
I can barely remember something from last week, folks. So I'm doing great.
Yeah.
Anyway, I hope someone will let us know a second time. But I thought the same thing, because I was like, is Mr. LaBelle, like, is this something where we should have immediately known?
Well, and I guess maybe the reason that it's not is because, again, we're supposed to constantly be questioning if this is real or not. Whereas I feel like if they just said, oh, it's Satan, then it might, like, show the cards too early.
Right. The cards? Yeah. I think also if you tell me, oh, Mr. LaBelle equals Satan, I'm thinking of an apparition, kind of like what we see here, where he's almost in a mist or he dissipates and so on, as opposed to here is a concrete, it's not concrete, but it's an actual box that we have that we can trace back down the family line. So I guess it's that negotiation between a kind of spirit or an urban legend or a religious deity versus here's something I put on the table, we put in a card and out comes something else and then we act on it.
And I'm not really clear on what, I mean, clearly the deal was yes, like I'll make you famous, but you have to play this game, and if
I think it's just rich in exchange for your souls.
It is, but again, like Tony doesn't say that at the start of this, and I'm just kind of like, can you just say that, like, yeah, if you lose, your entire family line gets destroyed? Like that.
No, that's not as much fun.
It's whatever. But by this point, I mean, like,
well, sort of, because I would argue that even here, even now, we're monitoring Grace's reactions to all of this because she's the straight woman, she is the audience proxy, and she's sitting there saying, is this for real? Like, Samara Weaving is so good at the nervous chuckle. Hide and seek? Are we really going to do this?
And it is funny watching them all because for this entire sequence, like, everyone is clearly on pins and needles. And truthfully, they probably should be, because it's like, okay, well, we have 3 kids. It didn't happen with the first 2. So it's probably going to happen with this one. Although no one seems to actually think that's going to happen except for Helene.
Yeah, I think because they've been through so many different rounds, and, you know, we hear that the other games they have had to play recently were chess and Old Maid. And of course, I remember a lot of people speculating, okay, so if this is what hide and seek looks like in this world, what does, you know, Old Maid or chess looks like? Is it just the actual versions, or is there some kind of larger than life iteration of those games that they would have had to play?
I think they're just the regular version, because again, like the only game they seem to be worried about is hide and seek. Like, that's the one.
Yeah. I'm curious to see if we will get anything from this sequel that elaborates on that, or if it will be more about Mr. LaBelle and the other families. And it's like, no, hide and seek is the game you needed to know, and that's it.
Unless, because here's the thing, though. This is a gaming family. Mm-hmm. The other families, I mean, are they all gaming empires?
We don't know.
But I could also believe that whether they're gaming families or not, like if the trick is a game, someone has to play a game every time.
Right.
Is it always hide and seek? Although I guess really, though, if the sequel's called Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, it probably is always hide and seek, but still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it definitely seems to be more of the same, albeit on a bigger playing field where we've got more players, but we're also covering more ground. Because the other big rule here, especially with hide and seek, as Tony explains it, is that they're going to play it based on the rules of his great-grandfather. So no modern weapons, no surveillance equipment and that kind of stuff. But also we do put the house into lockdown. So you're meant to stay on the grounds.
Yeah, but also, I mean, I almost respect them because we learned that them like not using the security cameras wasn't a rule established by LaBelle. So they could theoretically be using all of these. So I like that they restrain themselves until they realize, oh, fuck, like we're in over our heads right now.
We're in danger of losing this, and then we all die. So yeah, turn on the security cameras. Mm-hmm. Yes, the other important rule of note is that Grace doesn't have to win. She merely has to outlast. So if she can make it to dawn, then technically she will have won.
I mean, isn't that how you win hide and seek? Because how do you win hide and seek if you're not the seeker?
I think it's a designated time, right?
Yeah,
so
right.
The person seeking can only look for you for so long, because if not, or they give up. I guess that's the other way.
It's like Monopoly. The game just goes on forever.
Oh my God. Yeah, right. All right. So the game begins with a countdown from 100 and a jaunty old-fashioned record, I will say. This is inspired. I still love hearing this hide-and-seek song.
I do too. And it comes back later too.
It does, yes. And I loved it just as much the second time around. So Grace still doesn't understand that her life is in peril because, of course, no one has actually said that. We've just said we're going to play this game. And she removes her shoes, and this is happening concurrently as everyone is passing out these old-timey weapons.
And again, she doesn't know even when she goes to hide. So
it's so unfair.
Yeah, like if she knows, oh, if they find me, I'm going to get killed, I feel like she'd be hiding a little bit differently.
Yeah, because she's basically tiptoeing around like, doo-doo-doo, I'm just going to get into this dumb waiter. This is so stupid. And she even makes a joke to herself when she closes the door, you know, like, oh, how was your wedding night? Oh, well, you know.
Hidden a dumb waiter.
So the song winds down, and this is where Becky suggests that Alex just stay downstairs. And again, it's another really good, small moment of genuine human interaction between mother and son, because she knows this fucking sucks for him.
Yeah. Yeah, but again, she is like just steadfast in it. She's like, I'm going to grab this bow and arrow and we're going to go kill this bitch.
That's what we got to do. Yeah, so let's just get to it. So the others spread out, and Alex uses the servants' corridor to sneak out under Charity's nose because she is left there to watch him. It's her one responsibility, and she will fail.
Which you think she should have known there was a servants' quarters in there, but whatever.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to learn that most of these people don't know a servants' quarter exists because they don't think about the servants.
That, valid point.
Except for, you know, Tony, who has a favorite of these three maids.
Well, because I guess, that's why, because we're just killing the three maids because we can't really kill anyone else until the very end of the movie.
Yeah. They truly are just red shirts, but I don't mind it.
No,
because
it's fine.
It's fine. Okay, so Becky tells Fitch that this has only happened once before, since the time that she has joined the family. So obviously, I think that's why I assumed that she was there for Aunt Helen's. Because that's the one time.
The character was. I just don't know if that was actually Andy McDowell.
Andy McDowell, okay. And then she also gets this nice little dig in because, you know, Fitch is, as I mentioned, a very ridiculous character. Christian Brun plays him so hilariously in this film. I mean,
it's kind of a play on his Orphan Black character, although his Orphan Black character gets a chance to evolve over 5 seasons.
True. Yes. Yeah. And he handles it marvelously. I actually quite like him as an actor.
Me too.
But here you can tell he's half-heartedly trying to ingratiate himself. You know, it's where you see the in-laws very infrequently, and they're like, so how have you been? You know, he's trying to make small talk, and she just says that she's never liked him.
Oh, it's such a good moment, too. You know, I never liked you, right? And then she just walks away.
Just walks away. You know what? We don't have to like each other. You survived your fucking indoctrination. You survived games night, but I don't have to pretend like I want to do this with you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So upstairs, Grace abandons the dumbwaiter because she thinks that this is silly and she doesn't want to be in there any longer. And then she rips the train of her dress as she gets out. So, it's sad because we like the wedding dress. At the same time, one of Fitch's boys, Georgie, who is played by Liam McDonald, has snuck out. So he has escaped from one of these three maids, Clara, who is played by Heineke Talbot, and she goes looking for him, and this is when she gets shot in the eye by Emily.
This is great. And actually, the real kicker of this joke is Emily just going, Clara, it's going to be okay, as Clara gargling all the blood.
And it's horrendous because this woman is not yet dead. She has just been shot in the eye, but she's basically incapacitated.
I was surprised Emily knew her name.
I mean, yes, true. That as
so
well.
At least these people do know the names of the help.
Mm-hmm.
Low bar, but still.
So this is all happening in the doorway of the room where Grace is hiding with Alex because he grabbed her, took her into this room to hide her because he knows what's going to happen. So she has to overhear as the rest of the family comes in. They talk about the body. They talk about how, okay, well, they've got to kill her. They're only hunting Grace. So we learn that here. And Samara Weaving, as always, she's killing it. She's got Alex's hand over her mouth. She's crying as she hears this. And then the family is just debating, okay, well, who has to take the legs and who takes the upper body because we got to drag this bloody corpse out of here.
And this is all while Alex and Grace are hiding behind the bed in the exact same room.
Yes. Yeah. So Emily briefly comes back to remind herself that she is a winner by snorting more coke.
So she just dumps the coke on her forearm.
Mm-hmm. Can't even wait to find a counter or a mirror or anything.
Well, that's how you know she's rich, though, because she's just wasting cocaine.
Right. Yes. We also have Fitch studying YouTube videos on how to use his crossbow. This is admittedly a couple of scenes from now, but it is very funny because, we've all got these antique weapons. Nobody really knows how to use them. So what do? You go on YouTube and you watch a how-to vid.
It can't be that hard to work a crossbow. I mean, I say that as someone who's never worked a crossbow in his life, but still.
Right.
I feel like I've seen enough people do it in a movie where I might be able to figure it out if pressed.
Sure. It's like how we can probably shoot guns because we've seen them being done in movies. Or, Jennifer Lawrence worked, a bow and arrow. We could probably all do that, too.
Oh, yeah.
It's not. It's hard.
I definitely did try archery when I was in Scouts, and I was not great at it. But I was also a kid, so.
Tougher than it looks.
Yeah, it is. Very much, yeah.
Okay, so we're back into the servants' quarters because that's how Grace and Alex will move around for the next little bit. But she puts on her sneakers, so she swapped out fancy shoes for something quite a bit more useful. And he's trying to explain why they couldn't have eloped or refused to play. Well, it doesn't work that way.
He says, if I would have told you, you would have left. And I'm like, yeah, dude, that's the risk you have to take by bringing someone into this family with this big caveat.
Yes, but I do like that we're also picking up little pieces of mythology here. So they had to get married here. They couldn't have eloped. You literally cannot marry someone in this family or else Mr. LaBelle will punish you. You have to do it here on these grounds and you have to play the game. And he mentions his great uncle as well as an aunt both refused and they and their partners were killed.
Yeah, which though killed by the family members, right?
We don't know.
See, I take that to mean it was the family members, not because if they refuse, why would LaBelle not just kill them and not the entire family? It seems like this is an all or nothing deal.
Maybe it's the family is only involved in the deal with Mr. LaBelle if they don't participate. If you're an individual, then that's your decision, and then LaBelle goes after you.
I don't know about that.
We don't have enough information to be having this conversation.
Maybe we'll find out in the sequel.
Again, yes, the mythology, potentially. We'll see. I'm doubtful, but...
But here's the thing, though. Even this lack of an answer, we know enough about the mythology of this movie, and while I would totally take more, we don't need it.
We don't need it. No. Yeah. But I do see your point that we do have a lot of this stuff about him... Oh, God, I love the way that this gets played because, when she says, well, why didn't you warn me? And he says, well, if I had, you would have run away. And you were the one who wanted to get married. And you're just like, dude, no.
Yeah.
This is not the time or the place to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I cannot, none of his excuses work or fly or do anything. And that's where... Even though I can understand, I almost empathize with him just really wanting to get out of this family. Mm-hmm. But that's why you can just tell from this point, oh, he's kind of a shitheel.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And because I remember the first time I watched this, I thought, well, why doesn't he just say, I can't get married. I don't believe in marriage. We can be together forever, but I will never marry you. Because then they could have just had a happy life. But I guess the reality is that people who want to get married, they want that. Like, for some people, it is going to be a deal breaker. So that's how I've always read this. But I appreciate that the movie even makes that clear here so that we're not left wondering. Because I do think a lot of people would say, well, why didn't he just tell her? Why didn't he try to soft pedal some of this or just never get married to her and so on? Like, they're not useful questions, but as movie-going audiences, we often have those sort of lingering in the background.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the movie does a good job of addressing most of them, the ones that are actually relevant.
I mean, here's the thing. I get why he didn't tell her about this in advance. I understand. Mm-hmm. It's still wrong.
Oh, sure. It doesn't make him more likable, especially as the movie progresses and we see what he does.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's time for them to separate. Even though she really does not want him to leave her, he says, you need to go to the kitchen. I'm going to unlock the security doors, but to do that, I have to go to this security room. So we need to separate here. Mm-hmm. So this is what we do. She pauses to tear off the bottom of this train or the bottom of her dress because it's dragging from the rib.
It's probably dress number 3 of 17.
Most likely, yeah. And then I love that she comes out of the servant corridor immediately in front of where the family are carrying this body.
Actually, one touch I really liked, and I don't think I caught this on a first watch, or maybe I didn't when we were recording it, but the flipping the heads or tails to figure out which part of the body you have to carry out.
Mm-hmm. All games with this family all the fucking time. Yeah, so this would be bad news if Emily wasn't so coked out, and she's a terrible fucking shot, so she basically just starts shooting wildly, and we hit nothing.
Well, and then she drops the gun. The gun goes off again. I'm surprised she didn't kill one of her family members at this point.
Yeah, I think it would have been too soon. If we had had a fourth mate, I could see blowing somebody else away here, too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, we can't kill this family yet.
No. So Grace ends up having to duck into the study. This is where she unsuccessfully tries the phone, the windows. She's interrupted by Daniel, who comes in to get a drink. He's not going to turn her in, but he also can't let her go. So they end up having a sort of nice moment, but he can't help her, or so he claims here. So he's going to give her 10 seconds, and she has to run. So, yes, we've got Daniel coming in here, and I remember us having a conversation, but I'm interested to see how you feel about this now. Do you start to get a feeling of an almost chemistry between Grace and Daniel? Because I will confess, there was a part of me the first time I watched it specifically where I didn't really know what was going to happen. It seemed like he was sympathetic to her, but also attracted to the fact that she was a nice person. And obviously he hates his wife, like he hates Charity.
Oh, yeah.
But it also seems like, especially right before he dies, you could see the two of them telling their fucking asshole significant others off and running away together.
Yeah, I mean, I feel it the most in that scene, not particularly this one, but at the same time, I'm like, well, he would have popped then no matter what, so him eloping with her wouldn't have done anything for him.
This is true. Yeah. They're not making it off the grounds together.
Yeah. But again, I still do, going back to the ending, but like, it's like, even they don't really, only Tony seems to be the one who really, truly believes firmly, we will die. Everyone else is kind of like, well, we might, but we've never seen it happen, so.
Which leads me to believe that either Tony saw this happen to somebody else, or he got sort of firsthand accounts of it, or he read crime scene reports or something like that. Because everybody else talks about it as if it's entirely speculative. Like, oh, we've been told this bullshit since we were kids. Almost like an urban legend, keep us in line, like La Llorona or something like that, right?
Well, but it's also, but Tony would have grown up the exact same way because it was his great-grandfather, he made the deal. But I guess also you could think, well, he also grew up in I was going to say the olden days, but a different time than these kids. So, I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, she ends up running. Charity comes in and she's really pissed off that Daniel didn't try to do anything to stop her. And this is where we learn that she didn't have any issue with selling her soul, even though we do learn here, this is kind of the only character detail we really get for Charity, which is that she also came from a bad background. So in some ways that explains why she was willing to do anything to get out of a bad situation and get into the money. Grace, same circumstances, makes the complete opposite choice, has no interest in this.
And again, Charity's backstory is a little bit vague. Yeah, we know it's like, I think his exact words is like, he
says a bad background. That's it.
Yes, which I took to mean, maybe she was in an abusive relationship, or maybe she was like, abused by her parents or something like that. I didn't.
So weird. You went directly to abuse, and I was like, oh, she was poor.
Well, so I think, yes, you could say, oh yeah, she's quote unquote just poor. And it's like, okay, well, we're seeing how two people from very similar backgrounds handle this very differently. But I guess when I'm like, oh yeah, you couldn't wait to sign your soul away, you'd rather be dead. Well, I guess he just said you'd rather be dead than lose all of this. But I'm thinking I'm trying to give her a slight benefit of the doubt to be like, okay, well, what could have been so bad that she was like, absolutely, I'll risk the fucking thing. I don't care. Like, anything is better.
Yeah, like everything we know about this character suggests that no, she heard what the deal was and she was totally fine with it because she wanted that money, and anything that she had to do to get it was totally fine, even if it meant sacrificing goats or killing people.
And truthfully, I think you're correct. I think it's more so, she's just poor. Like, that's where she came from, and she just really wanted to be rich. But I guess again, where I'm just like, but like, if going in, like, it's me against a family of people in this hide and seek game. Like, what do I want to risk?
Yeah.
So is it more so like, was her situation actually really that bad compared to Grace's? Or is it similar or the same and she just really hates being poor that much? Which, again, I get it. I hate being poor.
Either that or Daniel gave her like the kind of betting average. There's X many number of games, so your chances of drawing the one card that may put you in the line of fire and probably get killed is this, compared to, you might just get chess or old maid, in which case, cool. All you got to do is play and then money's yours.
But also, I'm thinking chess, that's two people. Who do you play against?
I guess you would just pick one of the members of the family.
Maybe so.
It all seems to be very low stakes unless it's hide or seek.
Well, yeah, because none of the other games have a death wish except for hide and seek.
As far as we know, but we don't know that for sure.
I do not think. I think all of chess and old maid, they're just like, we're just going to play that for the night. I think as soon as that card comes out and it's not hide and seek,
everybody just breathes a big sigh of relief, right?
Exactly, 100%.
No, I will correct myself. Obviously, none of the games have life or death stakes attached to them, or else these partners wouldn't have survived either. So, duh.
Oh, right, yeah. If they're alive, the family shouldn't be alive.
Yeah, it should be one or the other.
Yeah.
Okay. So everybody comes in because Charity has alerted the family that Daniel has let Grace go, and this is where Emily immediately accidentally shoots Tina, who is played by Celine Tsai, and so we've got another crossbow death.
Does the help count as in part of the deal? And Helene's like, no, why does everyone keep asking that?
Yes. Helene's frustration with how people change the rules or how they do or do not want to play according to how elders of the family would have done it, and just her intolerance for this poor woman, Tina, not dying fast enough, all comedically just, yes.
Very good. Very good. And also, I mean, I'm putting this on Helene, but it's a thing where it's like, I'm sure a part of her decision for this is like, her happiness was ruined, so she doesn't want to see anyone else happy.
Yeah, either that or she's just locked into the Mr. LaBelle of it all. So for her, it's like, this is just what we now have to do. This is what we do every fucking time. There's no wiggle room. I've already lost a husband to this, and this is the way forward.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, these are both dark timelines for her. It's funny, right? Because she is one of the funniest characters in the film because of the performance, but she's also arguably the most tragic member of the family.
100%. Yeah. And she also, I think, has the least screen time out of everyone in this cast.
Yeah, she makes a lot of the few moments she has.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is when Tony really starts to freak out. He's the petulant child because he says, and I think this is the first time the film actually confirms it, they will die if they don't find Grace by dawn.
Yes, I think you're right.
So Becky encourages everybody to work the problem. Again, it's another good moment for Andie MacDowell because she just assumes leadership of this. Okay, I don't fucking care about what you said. We're going to find Alex. So that's step one. And also we're going to turn on those fucking security cameras.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Grace has discovered a gun, and also she has put on a belt of bullets. And I'll be curious to hear if there's any further commentary from the costume designer on this. But I will say I love the tilt from her shoes, the yellow sneaks all the way up to the top.
I wrote that in my notes as well. I said I love this shot.
It's a fucking power move kind of shot. And it's also the transition, right? So Grace isn't going to run as much. I mean, she's still going to run a whole bunch in this movie.
Yeah.
But she will start actively defending herself and taking on these families. She's not, a withering little flower or something.
Yeah. This is her shift as a character beat.
Yeah. And you could argue that, I don't know. Is this a good thing? Because in some ways, this feels like an interrogation of femininity. She's not just the bride anymore. In her wedding gown, she has to accentuate it with a fucking gun and these other elements of masculinity. I don't know that I read it as a bad thing, but it does feel like a soft condemnation of, well, if you want to survive, you can't just be a blushing bride.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so she makes her way into the kitchen, but she has to battle Stevens. I'm condensing a lot of this. There's a good amount of hide and seek.
Yeah, but again, how could you narrate that without just being
giving
boring?
Beats. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like that this ends with something a little bit different. So we have to smash Stevens in the head with the kettle of boiling water, and this guy will have just facial scars for the rest of the film on one side.
The butler does have a bigger Stevens. I'm sorry, I should give him a name. Yes. I should call him a name. That is the butler. But yeah, Stevens has a bigger part in this movie than I remembered. I didn't really remember much of this.
It's true. I think he gets more screen time than like Andy McDowell does.
Honestly, he might.
Yeah. It's just because he is a domestic servant and he has to go out and do a lot of the dirty work for them, right? I will say this is still not a persistent issue, but a persistent little thing that nips at me. Will he and the maids pop if they had survived until the end? Because I can't remember... They're not part of the family, technically, and yet why do they have such a strong investment in all of this?
I would wager because they have a really good pay scale
going
on. But actually, that's something that, I would love to see in the sequel if we get kind of like Downton Abbey or Gilded Age, where it's like, we're spending more time with how the servants feel about all of this and what they're doing.
Yeah, because presumably all these people are going to be rich as fuck, so they would have similar hired help. Or is the idea that, no, you're the one whose head is on the line, so you've got to make this happen?
Yeah. I'm choosing to believe the servants would not pop if at the end of the day.
I think it's probably the safe assumption. But I guess I've wondered because Stephen is he is full throttle in pursuit of Grace for the rest of the film from this point on.
Yeah, but it's also a thing where it's like, well, how long has he been with the family? This is probably the only life that he knows. So goddamn, he's going to do what's asked of him.
Sure. Yeah. The legacy employee.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so as she is fighting with him, we have Alex battling his father in the security room, and he nearly strangles Tony, but eventually he is knocked out, and he'll spend a large portion of the rest of the film handcuffed to a bed.
Yeah. And yeah, he's just not in much of the rest of this movie.
Yeah. But the truth is that I think at this point, we're still meant to believe that it is Alex and Grace versus the rest of the family. Like,
correct.
I didn't anticipate that he was going to shift alliances.
Not at this point. But again,
No.
I do think that his shift is believable when it happens.
I agree. Yeah. And I do think it has a lot to do with the final scene that he shares with Becky.
I agree.
From the executive producers of Stranger Things comes a series that asks the question, are you sure he's the one? Something very bad is going to happen is an atmospheric psychological horror set in the 5 days leading up to an intimate wedding. Starring Camilla Morrone and Adam DeMarco. This isn't just a story about cold feet. It's about the visceral anxiety and mounting terror of realizing you might be marrying the wrong person. As Rachel questions whether Nikki is truly the one, her doubts spiral into something darker, and the show explores the ultimate horror. How can you ever be certain you've made the right choice? It's edgy, and it's not a spoiler if it's in the title. Something very bad is going to happen. The only question is, what is it? Watch Something Very Bad is Going to Happen on March 26th, only on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have one last remaining maid. This would be Dora, played by Daniela Barbosa. And I will confess, I think that this is weak sauce. So the fact that she accidentally crushes herself in this dumbwaiter, I think is kind of dumb.
I mean, it's dumb, but I think I see what you did there. But I think it's funny. I mean, would I have preferred to see her head get smushed in this door?
Oh, sure.
Yes. Yeah,
we love
absolutely.
a crushed head.
I
guess it was just more, this is an accidental death in this movie, and I want my characters to be proactive.
I mean, arguably, all of these maids' deaths are accidental deaths.
Well, but because someone was an idiot.
Well, yeah, but
this is like a woman who accidentally crushes herself.
Which would make her an idiot.
Well, I want somebody else to be an idiot and it causes somebody's death.
You want one of the rich people to be the idiot causing her death.
I do, yes.
Yeah. I get it.
Okay, so Grace ends up listening outside. So there's an open window. She's kind of up on the roof, and she overhears Aunt Helene comparing herself to Alex, arguing that there's still time for Alex to accept that he is meant to lead the family because, in large part, he has seen Mr. LaBelle, and none of the rest of them have.
Yeah, and I think this is supposed to be the first wedge driven between Grace and Alex at this point.
Right, yeah. Oh, wow, he's more involved in this, or maybe he can be swayed more easily.
I'm sorry, not the first wedge. The first wedge was him not telling her about this beforehand.
Yes. How generous of you to say so. Okay, so we have Fitch doing more ludicrous, idiotic things like searching pacts with the devil, real or bullshit.
I also, we get these random, eat the rich lines, but, we have Tony going, we gotta finish this. I have tea time at 8.
Yes, yeah. I'm being minorly inconvenienced, and my golf game will suffer for this. This is where Grace she either jumps or falls off the roof, but we get to see her just fall past this window, and Fitch is none the wiser because he's a fucking idiot.
This was a big trailer shot. Every trailer had this moment.
Yeah, so she ends up running to the goat shed, which will be our next big set piece. Sadly, none of them ask her if she wants to live deliciously, which would have fit in well in the spirit of this film.
Actually, yeah, that would have been kind of cool if we did a devil goat.
I think it would have been a little too drag me to hell. This movie is silly at times, but it's not over the top in that fashion.
And actually, because this is post The Witch, maybe it's oh no, we're not going to touch that.
Yeah, we're not touching that. No. Mm-hmm. So she is discovered by Georgie, that little shit who was running around outside of bed and got the one maid killed. And he ends up shooting a enormous hole in the palm of her hand.
This hurts.
Yeah, it's fantastic. That's the other thing. So Radio Silence is really good at shooting these action sequences. The staging, the geography is always very, very clear to me.
Right.
But also, when we hurt people, it actually hurts.
Well, yeah. Oh, God. I mean, if you thought this was bad, it's about to get a whole lot worse for Grace.
These puns are just coming fast and furious, folks. Yes, no, it absolutely is.
But she punches this kid right in the face, and it's fantastic.
I think I cheer every fucking time. And folks know, it's I have a fun relationship with children, but specifically children's deaths. But I will say, this little shit deserves it, and it's satisfying to see him go down.
100%! I mean, honestly, there's something, for me, even more satisfying about a kid getting punched in the face than just getting outright killed.
Sure. Unless it's, Pet Sematary, and that kid just, eats shit in front of that semi, but...
Yeah, but I don't even think you see that happen. It's one of those things with the cars, coming towards the camera, and then we cut or something.
Sure. Okay, Toxic Avenger, then.
Oh, yes.
But that is obviously being played for comedy.
A good, but we're using a dummy in that scene. So, yes, 100%.
Okay, so anyway, Georgie is down for the count, but also Grace has a giant hole in the palm of her hand. This is when she gets scared by a goat, so she ends up falling into, we were in the goat shed, and then she kind of falls into the goat pit, or the refuse area, because this is just decomposing bodies of goats, but also Charles, and we can identify him as Helene's dead ex-husband because he's still got the fucking arrows in his chest.
Yeah, I'm y'all didn't even bury these people? Because the Wikipedia page says this is where they keep all of their bodies from sacrifices past. I only clocked Charles's body, but I'm y'all just leave these bodies rotting in the stink pit?
It's like a compost bin for humans as well as goats, I guess.
I mean, his skeleton's just right there.
I will say, though, I love this casual reveal of, oh, this rich family. It's not like they're raising chickens or anything else. Like, they don't have other livestock. This isn't a farm. It's just goats because these are all being sacrificed to Mr. LaBelle.
Yeah, I wrote in my notes barn, but then again, the Wikipedia told me this is the goat shed. Now, much like the music room, a totally normal building to have on your grounds, on the grounds of your house. I'm sorry. Yeah. It's also normal to have grounds around your house.
Rich motherfuckers. Ugh. Yes. Okay, so before Grace begins her ascent up this rickety ass fucking ladder, of course, because we know how to tease something, it's not quite the bomb under the table, but it is the nail at the top. And so we're just waiting and waiting and waiting for Grace to put her wounded hand through in and around this nail. And of course, I love that she kind of just puts it right through the hole, but the hole is raw and open. And we should note, covered in sewage, so she needs to get some kind of shot because she's going to get that infected later.
And I do remember, I liked this when I saw it in 2019, but I don't know if you remember, this comes out the year after A Quiet Place, which also has a very dastardly nail.
Yes, nails and women. You just can't put them together. Yeah, I just put in my notes, ouchie, and then she rips her hand off, so it's double ouchie.
Yeah, this is painful.
She's screaming, which, feels appropriate.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're like, oh my God, stop it. Like, but no one finds her.
Shut the fuck up because they're going to hear you. So I do love that before she leaves this goat shed, Grace will also call Georgie a fucker, and then she leaves.
Yeah.
This is when Charity tries to shoot her with the crossbow and fails spectacularly.
I learned this. This is a spear gun because she does not have the crossbow. But
there we go. Okay.
Because there's a music build up to her doing this, and it comes to nothing, and it's such a funny joke.
Yeah, because this bolt basically just goes in a very sad, shallow arc, and it's nowhere near Grace. And Charity's just like, fuck! It's very amusing. Okay, so Stevens now knows where Grace is because this is Charity's whole function. Is she just yells at the family to say, she's in here, she's gone over here, or whatever. So Stevens now knows where she is. So he, gets in the car and we will discover, tries to cut her off. But in the meantime, Grace sees headlights approaching on the road. So she tries to climb over this wrought iron fence around the grounds. She can't because of her hand. So she tries to go through the bars and she rips open her abdomen in so doing.
This hurts.
This also hurts.
That is the thing. Grace really is put through the ringer in this movie. And And it's not even, it's not even this. It's fine. That's it.
Okay. Yeah. No, I agree with you, which makes it all the more perplexing to note that the sequel will immediately take place after the events of this film.
Man, I know.
It's the strangers. Yeah, how is she going to recover from all this shit so she can do round 2?
She's going to need a lot of therapy.
Truly. Well, that's why she's got a sister and a strange sister.
Actually, do you think that she inherits all the fortune because she's the last? She did marry into this family.
I would think so. Yeah.
Ooh,
which is maybe why the other families are here. We'll see.
Yeah.
Folks, you probably already know by the time you're listening to this. So anyway, she makes it out onto the road, albeit, she has injured her abdomen, ouchie, and this car barely slows down long enough to continue driving by, which is where we get the rant that I tried to emulate, but I just cannot do Samara Weaving's delivery any justice.
It was decent, but
it was okay.
I will say, we've seen scenes like this plenty of times in a horror movie where someone, again, look, truthfully, if I was the driver of this car, I probably wouldn't stop by.
Yeah, you've got a woman in a wedding dress in the middle of the night, and she's all cut up and bloody and just screaming. You're like, ooh, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah. I mean, I like to think I would be a good Samaritan and help, but the reality is are you stopping on a deserted, dark road?
Yeah, I guess I'm just thinking, too, what if she's the killer,
Right. Yeah. Horror movies have taught us this.
Yeah. And maybe that's a problem. If I hadn't seen so many horror movies, I would be more forgiving and be like, oh my God, this poor woman in a wedding dress.
So back inside the mansion, Daniel is cracking jokes about all this because he's also getting extremely drunk because his part of this, he's, sort of helped Grace escape, but also he has never actively been hunting. So he's in some ways refusing to do as much as anybody in this family. Becky is doing more than this. So this upsets Tony. He ends up slamming Daniel against a wall, reminding them about the Van Horns. Yeah, so this was another family, and they did not just die in a house fire.
Yeah.
Which suggests, again, it's like, oh, house fire. So does that mean we either burned down the house to cover up the exploded bodies? Or was it a similar situation to this? Because this house will go up in flames.
That would actually be a really cool idea if it was like, if it was the same exact fucking scenario and the bride or the new inductee into the family survived and got away.
Right.
And that person maybe comes back in the sequel.
Oh, maybe. So Becky orders the fuck-ups on cleaning duty. So Daniel and Emily will have to go and basically drag all the maids' bodies out to the goat shed. This is when Alex tries to free himself from the handcuffs, and Emily and Daniel in the goat pit, they discuss how they failed Alex. Again, this is the closest we will get to good character work for Emily, and I do like Scrofano here. You know, even this moment where she's pretty pathetic, but her saying that her kids don't deserve to die. And I was like, well, your kids suck. But also
I know.
that is a nice humanizing moment. You know, you're a bit of a coke fiend. You're a horrible shot. You don't seem very apologetic for any of these things, but you don't want your kids to die at the end of the night.
Yeah, and if she had said this before Georgie shot Grace through the hand, I might be like, yeah, you know what? You got a point.
Sure.
But now I'm like, I don't
Fuck
know, man.
Them kids. Okay, so lo and behold, Stevens has discovered Grace out in the road because that's where she is, and they battle in the headlights, but she manages to get the one up on him, so she strangles him unconscious using a strip of fabric from her dress.
I love it. Very resourceful.
Yeah, that's iteration probably number 7 or 8 of this dress at this point, right? So we then have this very amusing bit with Justin from TripSafe. So she tries to use Stevens' car, but it has been called in stolen, and Justin shuts the car down remotely, citing company policy.
I love this. Did you catch who voices Justin?
I did not. Who is it?
Nat Faxon. I don't know if you...
Oh, yes. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was like, I don't know if you know the name. If you saw him, you would definitely know who he was.
Okay. How do you know him?
I was introduced to him in that Dakota Johnson sitcom he did, Ben and Kate, from like 2012. But he's done, I mean, I've seen him in so many things since. He's also Cameron Diaz's first husband in Bad Teacher.
There we go. Yeah, he's a very funny guy. And this is a voice-only performance, but it is highly amusing. And getting to watch Grace get increasingly more upset. Like, this is one of those believe women, help women moments, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Grace ultimately gets tranked by Stevens. I will say this is the part of the film where I find there's just a dip in the pacing and it starts to feel maybe a smidge repetitive. So there's just a bit too much of the car stuff. Like I like the Justin stuff. I don't like this trank stuff. I don't like her waking up and kicking him in the face, even though I do think it's very funny watching the entire family get super pissed off that he's not paying attention.
Oh yeah, I'm okay with all of this. The only thing I don't need in this entire sequence is the faux nightmare sequence where she thinks it's a masked Alex driving the car. I don't need that at all.
Yeah, I think it honestly feels like a bit of a studio note where they're saying you need to telegraph that Alex is going to turn against her.
Either that or telegraph that she is losing trust in Alex.
I mean, are they the same thing? Maybe a little bit, yeah.
Well, no, because one is on her, the other one's on him.
Fair. Okay. I mean, I think at this point, I would just be so suspicious. Like, if I'm Grace, I just want to get away. I don't care if I ever see any of these people again. I'm never looking back.
If I'm Grace, I just want to have a doctor look at my hand.
I mean, the hand, the abdomen.
Yeah. But no, this entire sequence of the family watching her beat the shit out of Stevens, I'm all in on this. I think this is so fun.
Very funny. And we get the slow motion car wreck because, of course, he loses control, so the car flips a bunch of times. This is what ultimately allows Daniel and Tony to grab her. So then we start to move into the last act of the film.
Yeah.
So this scene between Becky and Alex, this is where, again, Andie MacDowell doing the most with the least. I like her. I don't want to do this, but we have to protect the family. That's just rough.
Well, and he says, maybe it's all a crock of shit. And she calls him on his bullshit and goes, if you believed that, then you wouldn't have let her draw a card at all. Which means you believed if you didn't let her do this, bad things would happen to you.
Yeah. I think this is one of those moments where he starts to realize maybe he's even been lying to himself. Because I think up until this point, I truly do believe Alex thought he was acting with a certain amount of sincerity.
Yeah.
And then this is the moment where he's like, no, if I really loved her, I never would have actually married her. I would have told her the truth. It wouldn't have mattered if she had have left me or just walked away from the whole thing. And this is when he realizes, no, I think I'm an insecure piece of shit.
100%. And here's the thing. Even in the end of this movie, when he makes the turn, I understand where he's coming from. Because it's like, I have to kill you, or me and my entire family who I hate. But me, I will get killed too.
Yeah, so you realize it's a you or me, and ultimately I'm going to choose me.
I would like to believe that I would have the integrity to be like, you know what? No, you don't deserve this. You go home. I'll die with my family. It's fine.
Right.
But, when you're faced with certain death or not dying at all, I don't know, man.
Yeah. You're hypothetically always going to choose to live, which means yourself. Yeah. I do like his explanation of why he left 2 years ago, though. So he was raised in all of this, and it seemed perfectly normal until he met Grace and realized what normal could actually be like, because she was nothing like them. And then you find yourself, slitting a goat's throat and drinking its blood and realizing, nope. This is not what regular folks do. Yeah,
the line, what scared me the most is that it felt normal. And I love that. I get it. And I do think that Alex is maybe a bit more of a layered character than I've given him credit for in this episode. But
well, it's so easy to read him as a fucking asshole. And especially if you're siding with Grace, which I think you have to. And this is a good for her text. So you want to see this asshole realize that he is a prick and then get his. But yeah, I think that does take away from the fact that the character is written with a bit more complexity and depth than that.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this is where he tries to insist that he's going to choose Grace over them. And Becky's like, you won't.
Yeah,
I know
you're not.
Mother knows best. So everyone prepares for the ritual, because don't forget, we've got Grace. We're going to bring her back in. So she is tied up on a pentagram table. The family is, drinking some. I presume this is going to be goat's blood or something else, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
I got goat's blood out of it. Yeah, sure. Why else would they have all those goats?
Yeah. If you're reciting the Latin, you've got these cloaks on. I'm assuming you're drinking blood out of a chalice. It comes with the territory. But we discover there is one more twist. Daniel has a low-key poisoned all of them with just a little smidget of hydrochloric acid. And I do love this line. They'll shit weird for a week, but they'll be fine.
To which I was like, really? Hydrochloric acid? But I guess, it's just a little bit where it's really irritating the lining of the stomach and the intestines and not fully eating through it.
Sure. I mean, how do you know what a small dose is going to do?
Well, he Googled it.
Seems a little risky. Oh, you know what? I needed a scene of him in the toilet Googling how much hydrochloric acid to induce vomiting or something.
Actually, what there should be in the sequel is someone does the exact same thing, but they get the answer from Google AI results, and it's massively
and it's wrong. And we just kill a bunch of people. You know what? I like it. I'm here for it. Because if you see those results, folks, just keep reading until you get a reliable source.
Yep.
Just ignore the bullshit. Okay, so so they're all basically sick, and then he releases her, so it's now Daniel and Grace running around. This is when Charity shoots her husband, so she gets him right in the neck. It's the one good shot somebody's going to get in this entire movie. It's like Georgie and Charity are the ones who have the best handling of a gun in this film.
Very much so. And I almost feel robbed that Daniel and soon Becky are taken out before the popping at the end. But I think actually that's really intentional because, again, they seem the most human. They're the least cartoonish out of all of these characters.
Yeah, and there's something that I picked up on this rewatch that I have never really, it was right there in front of my eyes and I just wasn't really paying attention to it. But okay, so we have Grace, essentially, she would have shot Charity 100%, but she runs out of bullets, so she just knocks her unconscious. And then, Tony comes after her, so we have to keep fighting. She whacks him a bunch with this lantern, and this is where the room is set on fire. The whole mansion is going to go up. But when Alex finds Daniel, I realize for the first time that he assumes Grace is the one who killed his brother.
Well,
and that's the other part of the heel turn. So again, not to be too generous to this guy who is unequivocally a fucking asshole, but I don't know if he would have done all of this if he didn't think that she had killed Daniel.
I agree, but also I think the straw that breaks the camel's back is him walking in on her bashing Becky's head in. Like,
yeah, it doesn't help, admittedly.
Well, it seems like he's closer to his mother than he is with his brother, and that's so I think yeah, it's really bad for Daniel. But again, it's that line he says when he makes the heel turn where he's like, well, "You're not going to stay with me after this, are you?" To which I'm like, Grace, you better just say yes right now.
You need to sell this line harder than you have ever harder than you said I do a couple of hours ago when you married this prick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do. I mean, like is a strong word because, yeah, I like Andie MacDowell in this movie. I like her generally. I mean, it's the reason she was cast in the roles because you're meant to like this character because of the actress. There's something about watching her get her fucking head caved in with this box. It's rough.
It is rough, but we don't see any shot of Andie MacDowell's face. And I was like, why don't we get an aftermath shot of this? I was like, maybe Andie MacDowell didn't want to do a head cast or something. I don't know, but
maybe it could also be like, that's a pretty small budget. Let's not forget. And we do some pretty spectacular blood bursting in a couple of moments. So,
well, and the funny thing is, well, I'll wait until we get there. Actually,
okay.
Keep going.
Yes, so we do have this interaction between Grace and Alex when he comes in. So he is obviously seeing her beating his mother to death. And then they try to make their apologies to one another. But he is also like, I love the moment where he moves towards her and she flinches.
Yeah, that's the moment. Yeah, he says, like, you're not going to be with me after this whole thing, are you?
Yeah, because he's understood she's scared of him. She doesn't trust him anymore. But I love that moment because, again, it feels like a very, very real instance of almost survivor of domestic abuse situation, right?
Yeah,
Which is, it feels incredibly realistic in a movie that has already begun to creep into, oh, this is a very sensational thriller.
Right, yeah.
So I like that. I like that as a very like, oh, this is relatable to maybe too many people in the audience who have experienced something like this.
Sure.
Hopefully not to this extreme.
I mean, I would hope not.
Hopefully not, yes. Okay, so basically Alex just flips. She's not going to be with him, so he's going to take his position at the head of the family. So Grace is back, tied up on the fucking pentagram table, only now he's at the head with the knife, doing the Latin with the cloaks and all this other bullshit. So he goes to stab her, but she manages to dodge because they haven't tied the ropes tightly enough. So she gets it in the shoulder instead of the heart, presumably.
Yeah, so she's still getting beat up, but she's survivable wounds.
Yeah, and this is not played for comedy. There's no humor to her getting a terrible wound inflicted. I would argue it's closer to like the abdomen tear as opposed to the Georgie hand shot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we realize we are too late, Trace. So she manages to get out. She's holding them at bay. She opens the window and daylight is streaming in.
My God.
So
this reminds me of that moment in Hocus Pocus when they try to trick the witches with the lights and they're like, ah!
and pause. Oh, nothing's happening. Okay, well, maybe it was a crock of fucking shit and we've done all of the... Here's the thing. This is so well played because the first time you watch this movie, by this point, you fully believe that they believe. I remember being on board and thinking, okay, something awful is going to happen to them now, and I can't wait to see. And then nothing. And I was so disappointed. And then.
So, okay, here you go, Joe. Here's your nugget of, here's your kernel of trivia. So, Grace died in the original draft of this script. And it was a very dark ending.
No.
Radio silence were the first people to go. This movie is a fun crowd pleaser, so ending it on a fun note is the right way to go.
I cannot imagine an ending where Grace dies. Like this would just be a completely different film.
100%. And so, the Vanderbilt, the producer, was kind of like, normally they come back, they would say, let's try a new tweak on the ending, and they come back with like a page or two. They came back with a 12-page alternate ending that would have taken a week and a half to shoot. So we took parts of it, the main part being the blood explosion stuff, and they decided to make that the ending. The blood explosions are real. They are not CGI, actually. So
I feel like you can tell.
You can definitely tell. So, and they showed the setup of how they did this with Helene's death, where basically it's like, you have Guadagni like standing there, and then it's like a jump cut almost, where they do have a bunch of blood bags on a green rod because they can CGI it out, and it just blows up. And then all the reactions for everything. It was Christian Brun's idea to have a piece fly in his mouth. He said, "Can I please have one go in my mouth?" Nice. Apparently, the blood syrup tastes like caramel, so they all really enjoyed tasting it on their bodies.
Okay. Yeah, because normally it's horrible when you get covered in blood.
Yeah, I've never tasted fake blood that was good. So the movie Fake Blood must be great.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, they, Helene grabs the axe, runs for Grace, and just pops.
Yes. I love it too that she's convinced, even if it is too late, she's still going to try to appease Mr. LaBelle. This is how far down the rabbit hole she has gone. She has, just fully committed herself to this, and she's going to kill Grace. And then, she pops. So then this is where we get the hide and seek song come back on. And then Fitch goes, and then Charity. And I love because and here's the thing. We don't see the kids and we don't see Emily go. They run out of this room and into the hall, but we can see the blood explosion. It's Samara Weaving laughing at that moment that I'm just like, oh, okay, I have permission to find all of this horrendously entertaining. Like, if she's laughing at it, then I can laugh at it.
Apparently, the Emily and two boys, they called this a meat cannon for shooting out their blood and entrails.
Oh my God. Oh, it's so satisfying. It's just so good.
But I actually didn't hear this in the hide and seek song, but I noticed it in my subtitles that the song is counting down from 10. And when it hits 0, that's when Grace throws the ring at Alex and he blows up.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, I like that Tony also tries to plead for his life, but it doesn't do anything.
Oh, it does not work.
We get another beat. It's this other moment where you think, okay, so maybe Alex, because he was good-ish, or he didn't buy into the same level as his family. But yeah, as you said, when she throws the ring at him, then he also goes up. And of course, because they're right next to each other, he just gets all over Grace, and she is just covered in him.
And the script said that he had the nastiest and most mean, brutal, gory explosion out of all of them.
Okay, interesting.
There's more chunks in his blood flow.
Right, yes. He's a chunkier dude. All right, so this is when we get the Mr. LaBelle appearance as he nods at Grace, and her reaction, again, Weaving just killing these little comedic beats. It's like, Colonels, the fuck? So don't forget, the entire house is on fire, so we get to see the games burning, and Grace just kind of goes outside, sits on these stairs, and she smokes. And when we get the first responders showing up, police officer asks, Jesus Christ, what happened to you? And we end the movie with her saying, in-laws.
And I do, this is all a single shot, so we don't cut to see the responding officer. It's just all on Weaving, the entire final shot, and it's great. It's so good. And what a beat to end the movie on. We just cut to credits.
Yeah. And folks, if you've forgotten, we do almost an identical ending in Abigail where people also pop, and then we end with not a cigarette because, of course, Melissa Barrera has a candy fixation in that, so she's just sucking on a lollipop.
Maybe that's also why Abigail was just less impressive to me, because it really did just kind of, I mean, not fully, obviously, but it did kind of feel like we've done this in Ready or Not already.
It was a Ready or Not already?
Yeah. Which, again, it's going to be interesting to see if I feel similarly about the sequel, unless we do something wildly different, the same but different.
Yeah, I am worried that the penalty for these new families going after these sisters, Grace and whatever Catherine Newton's sister character is, I'm afraid that it's going to be, oh, you've got another time constraint, and if you don't, they burst. That is going to feel too repetitive. You can't get away with a third time's the charm.
I agree, but in that Red Band trailer, you definitely see someone pop, and I've seen people complaining about it, and I'm like, I bet you, because it's in the hospital. I think it's in the beginning when that happens, not at the end.
Okay. Yeah, I would love to either get another prologue that suggests, hey, here's the Van Horns, or something else that, again, offers a bit of context or maybe a bit of new mythology to tease, but that, we don't just play the hits again.
Yeah, for sure. But we'll find out soon.
Yeah, because folks, you can bet your sweet asses we're covering that over on Patreon, because I've been waiting for this movie for a long time.
Yes, and if you've listened to this episode and want to hear it again without ads, you should go sign up for the Patreon.
There we go. Just imagine how much better it would have been if you didn't have to wait for us to keep punning.
Oh my God, right? Well, okay, everyone. Before we announce what we're covering next week, some quick housekeeping. If you want to get in touch with us, you can reach us on Blue Sky and Instagram at HorrorQueers. Shoot us an email at horrorqueers@gmail.com. Find us on Letterboxd to keep track of all the films we've covered. If you want to chat with other listeners, please join our Horror Queers Discord. That link is in the show notes. If you have a moment, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And if you want more content, including, again, ad-free main feed episodes, please support the show by becoming a patron at patreon.com/horrorqueers. If you subscribe today, you'll get 470 hours of Patreon content, including this month's new episodes on Psycho Killer, The Bride, Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, Scream 7, a new audio commentary on Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, and our continued coverage of Mike Flanagan's The Haunting of Hill House on the Requel tier.
Yeah, it's a lot of content.
A lot of content. But Joe, we have more content coming next week, so what are we covering on the main feed?
Okay, we're going to close out the month with something that is maybe a little bit early because it's not May yet, but it is the beginning of spring, so it's the closest I could fucking do with programming. I don't want to hear about it. It's also just a really good excuse to talk about 1973's The Wicker Man Trace.
The Wicker Man. And everyone, we do have an episode on the remake from, I want to say, the first or second year of the pod.
Yeah.
But yeah, here we're finally going to watch the original.
You mean the good one? Yeah.
Well, yeah. Yes, the good one.
I'm excited. I haven't watched this in forever, and I won't lie. I don't know if we have talked about a Christopher Lee text before.
Ooh, maybe even in a Tim Burton film we've covered, but yeah, I'm not entirely sure. But
you were right. I think he was in Sleepy Hollow. Mm-hmm.
Maybe. Yeah, I think so. Either way, whatever. Really excited to revisit, because I actually watched the original for the first time when we were covering the remake, because I'd never seen it before. So this will be a second watch for me.
Yeah, folks, love me some folk horror. And also, who doesn't love a burning effigy? Let's just keep the fire raging.
And it's part musical.
And it's also, like, so short. That's the other thing short, I forget. Yeah. I was like, oh, God, a 2-hour movie. Nope. Mm-mm.
I love that. Well, everyone, until next week, we can cross out Ready or Not.
Indeed. And cross out Horror Queers.
From the executive producers of Stranger Things comes a series that asks the question, are you sure he's the one? Something very bad is going to happen is an atmospheric psychological horror set in the 5 days leading up to an intimate wedding. Starring Camilla Morrone and Adam DeMarco. This isn't just a story about cold feet. It's about the visceral anxiety and mounting terror of realizing you might be marrying the wrong person. As Rachel questions whether Nikki is truly the one, her doubts spiral into something darker, and the show explores the ultimate horror. How can you ever be certain you've made the right choice? It's edgy, and it's not a spoiler if it's in the title. Something very bad is going to happen. The only question is, what is it? Watch Something Very Bad is Going to Happen on March 26th, only on Netflix.
Warning, the following film is so intense. We are only allowed to advertise it for 15 seconds.
Excuse me?
Zazie Bates. They Will Kill You. Only in theaters March 27th. Rated R.